Home sweet home here in San Luis Obispo, California. The Blues, a 5-game homestand, and they'll start it off against the Santa Barbara Foresters. They actually played the Foresters 3 of the 5 games in this homestand. Some familiar faces at Sinsheimer Stadium as the Blues are coming off a win against their rivals in Santa Barbara. They look to get win number 2 against them right here tonight. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Nate Mills alongside Ryan Giacomini, and this is the Ancient Owl pregame show on SBSN. Well, Ryan, the Blues just came home from a 3-game road series. Game 1 against the Academy Barons was disastrous, to say the least. A 20-4 loss. Nothing was going the Blues' way, but they salvaged the series a little bit with a couple of wins against some pretty good teams, the Riptide and the Santa Barbara Foresters. But let's first talk about Game 1 against the Academy Barons. The errors, 3 errors for San Luis Obispo. The pitching, walks, hit by pitch. Debatably Jackson Howell's worst start of the season. And then the offense just could not come through at all against the Barons, who are one of the lower level teams in the CCL. And something about the Blues playing a game coming off the bus hasn't been successful for them this season.
I mean, the Barons are just 4-8 this season, not really competing in the CCL South so far. So it was kind of a disappointing and interesting loss for the Blues. Been playing, above average baseball recently, and to go down to Compton and take on a Barons team that had been struggling and just get totally blown out was a little bit of a surprise. Especially when you look at that game, it was tied early. It was 3-3 in the early innings. Both teams were banging the ball around the yard, and then for the Blues, it just stopped, and the Barons kept going, scoring in every inning that game.
Sam Arjois tied the game with an RBI triple in the second inning, and there was so much hope in the air for this Blues team. It really felt like they were putting together good at-bats, battling a lot against their starter and Joel Tornero. But then, as Ryan said, the wheels just kind of fell off, and the offense just went silent for the rest of that game. But they came back the next night and defeated the Orange County Riptide. That game was really tight for the Blues and OC. Tied at 2 late, and it was a Kosei Suzuki sacrifice fly to take the lead for San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, a pinch hit, too, coming off the bench. That's mainly what he's been used for the Blues so far this summer, because there's just so much infield talent. I mean, there's so much talent all over the field because he can play both infield and outfield. So he has been used primarily in a pinch hitter role and came through big time for the Blues that day.
Able to get that win against the Riptide. That was a 3-2 W, and then this date, 2 days ago, is what the Blues had circled on their calendar for quite a long time. Game 1 against the Santa Barbara Foresters, a classic pitcher's duel. It was Aiden Sims for SLO, who went 5 innings, 4 strikeouts, allowed 2 earned runs, and that would be it for Santa Barbara. And on the other side, it was Frank Camarillo, who was disgusting, a right-handed pitcher from UC Santa Barbara. The Blues got 3 runs off of him, though. Only one of them was earned, and they came away with the win. And it's something about the Blues. This happened last summer, too. The Blues have a winning record against the Foresters, but then you drop a game by 16 runs to the Barons.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. And, I don't want to say the Blues got lucky, but I don't think the Foresters are going to make, 2 errors in today's game that give the Blues 2 additional runs. I think they're going to have to earn it a little bit more. And, they definitely did. Ardois hit a home run, Murillo a 2 RBI single. So the Blues could definitely bang it against the Foresters, as they've shown. Best pitching staff in the whole CCL, so a little bit of a struggle, and you got a guy playing at the University of Texas on the mound today for them, so you got to try to hit off of a proven Division I guy.
So we talked to Rene Regalado about the offensive approach for this team, and what worked with the Blues in 2 days ago against the Santa Barbara Foresters is that the guy they faced in Camarillo was a heavy fastball slider guy, and both of those pitches were really effective. When you're looking at a slider, you're looking for the red dot that the seams create when it's spinning so much. There's a little red dot in the middle of the baseball. Renee says, maybe lay off those because it's going to break a lot and you're going to look foolish. He said to look for the pitch that looks like when you're flipping a coin and it has that spinning effect, kind of wobbly, not as tight of a red circle. That's what they're hunting. That's what they're looking for today against the Bryce Navarre.
Yeah, he's a mainly slider guy. He has 2 fastballs, a slider, and a changeup. He also has a curveball that he occasionally throws. So a 5-pitch guy, but he's going to go to that slider a lot. He throws it a lot in full counts. He throws a lot for first pitch. He doesn't find the zone very often with it, though. It's more of a swing and miss pitch with a 53% whiff rate. So the Blues are going to have to be patient and, just like you said, pick up that spin. If you see, that looser quarter-looking spin, got to attack it. If you're seeing that tighter spiral, just let it be. And if it's in the zone, you'll live with it. You'll live to see another pitch. 2 strike counts, maybe a little bit of a different approach, but 0-1, or 1 or 2 strike, or sorry, no or 2 strike counts. Sorry, no or 1 strike counts, you got to just lay off of those.
Well, the Blues might be successful in middle counts, maybe 1-1, 2-2 counts today, because Navarre is not great at strike one. The Blues might have to get into some counts to maybe see a pitch in the zone.
Yeah, only 41% first pitch strike. That's very, very low, especially for the Division I level. So take a pitch, see it, especially with that disgusting slider. He's probably, if I had to guess, going to go a lot of slider fastball first time through the order, and then he'll start working the changeup curveball his second time through. So that first at bat, be patient, take a pitch, and watch that slider pick up the movement, see that red circle that Renee was talking about, and then be ready to attack it when he leaves one out in the zone.
Hunter Hammond not having the summer he had anticipated. A pretty decent start to his summer last season with the Blues before leaving the team, and got some good playing time at Westmont. But he's got a tall task ahead of him against the Santa Barbara Foresters. As you said a little earlier, maybe one of the best offensive teams in the CCL. It's either them or the Walnut Creek Crawdads. So what does Hunter Hammond have to do today to be effective against this Foresters offense?
I think the biggest thing is he just needs to throw strikes. The Foresters struggled to hit the ball a little bit on Sunday, something I don't expect necessarily to happen today. But if he's walking batters and he's giving up free passes and wild pitches, hit by pitches, stuff like that, and then all they need is a hit to put a run or two on the board, that's really going to hurt you a lot. So you really just got to make sure that you're going to throw strikes, they put the ball in play, and then the defense just has to play good behind them. A pretty good infield today. You have Ardois, who's made a few mistakes at shortstop, but has cleaned it up a little bit. Comerford at third, Murillo at first, and Tollerman, all good gloves. So you really just got to trust the defense and hope you get some ground balls, hope you get some fly balls, and keep it in the ballpark.
No charity work for the Santa Barbara Foresters. That's the keys to a Blue victory today. We'll have the lineups for you right after this. Thank you for watching the Ancient Owl pregame show on the Slow Blue Streaming Network. Nate Mills and Ryan Giacomini on the call for you today.
Starting lineup now for the Santa Barbara Foresters.
It's game time here from Sinsheimer Stadium. The Blues kicking off a 5-game homestand against the Santa Barbara Foresters, who they will face 2 more times after tonight here in SLO, California. Let's introduce you the starting lineup for the Santa Barbara Foresters. Leading it off, it's the left-handed hitting Maddox Mandino playing in left field. Batting second, it's Terrence Kill, the second, playing in center. Easton Muma plays third and will bat third. The number 4 batter is Brenton Clark playing in right field. Catching and batting fifth, it's Cole Chamberlain. Sawyer Farr plays second base and bats sixth. Batting seventh, it's Caden Miller at first base, making his Foresters debut. Batting eighth, it's Caleb Hoover at DH. And Coleman Ryan, the shortstop, batting ninth, making his Foresters debut as well. Here's the defensive alignment for your San Luis Obispo Blues. Behind the dish, it's Cam Andrews. Zach Tollerman over at first with Diego Murillo at second. Brendan Comerford at the hot corner with Sam Ardois at short. The outfield left to right, Hart, Royal, and Jordan, with Gavin Smith DHing for your Blues. And on the mound for San Luis Obispo, it's Hunter Hammond making his 4th start in 2025.
Hammond hasn't been great so far this summer, but has looked better in recent starts. Just had a bad outing to start the year. And his last time out, he threw 4 1/3, gave up 2 earned runs. And then before that, it was just 1 inning where he gave up no runs in a game where the Blues threw 10 pitchers. So he's looked better so far this summer after that bad first outing. And we'll look to continue that today against a team that can bang the ball.
So it's Maddox Mandino leading it off for Santa Barbara against Hunter Hammond. Brandon Comerford, the third baseman, playing with his toes on the infield grass as the first pitch comes through. And it's a fastball missing high at 6:02 p.m. 64 degrees and sunny. Bit of a chillier day here on the central coast of California. Here's the 1-0. And high and tight to Mandino. 2 balls and no strikes from Hunter Hammond. 6:02 Pacific Standard Time. 64 degrees and sunny. The 2-0. And it's a slider called strike to Mandino, 2-1.
Lots of confidence going to that slider and a 2-0 count against the leadoff batter, Mandino.
Here's Hammond from the windup, 2-1. Sweeper missing outside. 3 balls and 1 strike now. Maddox Mandino in the driver's seat against Hunter Hammond. Mandino this summer a .356 hitter coming into today's game. 16 hits in his 45 at-bats. 3-1 sent straight back off his hands for strike 2. 2 extra base hits, they're both doubles. Has driven in 9 runs so far for the Sturs. Just finished up his sophomore season at Louisiana Lafayette, where former teammate Sam Ardois currently stands at shortstop. He played there as well last year. Here's the payoff from Hammond. Slider is popped up the opposite way to the left-handed hitter. Hart, the left fielder, camped underneath it, makes the 2-handed grab for the first out of the inning.
Good start to the game for Hammond, exactly what he needed. A 1-2-3 inning would be big for him. Just get his feet under him, get him some confidence. The last time he pitched, it's been a while now. He has not seen action since June 8th. So almost over 2 full weeks later. Get your feet under you, get a good first out.
Here's Terrence Kill now with 1 out. The first pitch, and Kill swings and misses for strike 1. A sweeper from Hunter Hammond. Kill, an Aggie from Texas A&M, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, entering his sophomore season with TAMU. Here's the 0-1, and Kill takes it high and inside, a ball and a strike. Terrence playing in his 10th game of the summer. The Foresters are playing in game number 13. The Blues, game number 23 on the year. Here's the 1-1. Slider yanked in the other batter's box. 2 balls and 1 strike to Terrence Kill. Kill this past season at Texas A&M started in 54 games. And batted just south of 300 at 294, 2-1. And Kill foul tips it at home plate, strike 2.
Big 2-1 hack. He got the pitch he was looking for and just missed it. Fouled it off the glove of Andrews, who last time he played, he was a wall behind the plate. Had a lot to deal with in that 20-4 loss to the Barons. Pitches all over the place. He needed a great job.
Here's the 2-2. Slider, I think that caught Kill on the elbow. And he did, and it's a hit by pitch.
It catches him right on the elbow guard. All the way up here. Looked like to me he leaned into it, but the home plate umpire doesn't think so.
So a hit by pitch for
Batting on number
Terrence Kill.
23.
He's over at first base and some good speed over there. Led the team in steals with 12 this past season at Texas A&M. So it's now Easton Muma, the vaquero from UT Rio Grande Valley, with Kill leading off first base, inching off the bag. Tellerman holds him on the first pitch, and it's a called strike to Muma, 0-1. Easton just had a pretty fun season this last year with the Vaqueros. First team all Southland Conference, first team all defense, and the cherry on top, first team all academic. The left-hander in the middle of the batter's box stands in with a runner at first. And 1-0 is a called strike. All right, check that. 0-2 now to Easton Muma. Along with his great season he had with the Vaqueros, all conference, first team, all defense, all academic, his squad was regular season champions. 0-2. Pitch just missing off the plate inside, not by much. 1-0 to Easton Muma.
Really like that 0-2 spot. Just missing off the plate. Tried to catch a corner. Surprised Muma with the fastball. See what he goes off of it.
1-2 from Hunter Hammond. He delivers from the stretch. Kill takes off to second. Ball in play. It rolls into center field, but it's stopped by Murillo, who races to the bag, trying to tag Kill, and Kill gets back in time. So it looked like this ball was going to roll into center, and at the last second, Murillo with an excellent effort to bat it down in the infield. Kill was caught in the middle, and Murillo was going to tag him, and Kill beats Murillo to the bag. So everyone's safe, and infield single for Easton Muma, and the first of the day for the Foresters.
Almost had an opportunity. Muma took a pretty large turn there, thinking that ball did get up the middle. But Murillo, I think, trapped it with his body and then was able to glove it and made it a close play at second.
Here's Brenton Clark, the cleanup man, looking to do his job description on a pitch that misses high. 1-0 to Clark. A Texarkana native from the Lone Star State of Texas, just spent his first season of college baseball at Arkansas with the Razorbacks, where he redshirted. Here's the 1-0. Sweeper missing outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Clark. Brenton yesterday was 1 for 3, had a single in the 8th inning, paired that with a walk in the first. One of the 2 runs to score the entire afternoon for the Foresters a couple days ago against the Blues. 2 looks at second, now delivers. And 2-0 is sent straight back to the screen for strike 1. Foresters entered today's game after losing to the Blues a couple days ago. Prior to that, they're on a 7-game win streak. The Blues put that to a halt, and the Foresters' only other loss in the summer, as they sit at 10-2, was to the Conejo Oaks on June 11th when they lost 9-5. And the off-speed misses outside. 3 balls and a strike to Brenton Clark. That means they went almost 2 weeks without losing a game before they faced the Blues.
8-2 in their last 10 and leading the CCL South.
Here's a 3-1. And Clark flinches and it misses high and inside for ball 4. A hit by pitch, a single, and now a walk loads the bases for the Foresters in the top half of the first inning.
I mentioned at the top of the show that Hammond just has to try to throw strikes. He's hit a batter or now walked a batter. The ball hasn't left the infield. The 3 runners who are on base, none of them have hit the ball out of the infield. So he's not doing a bad job in terms of soft contact, but just has to be able to throw strikes.
Hammond right now just looking for a ground ball to flip a double play. There is 1 out, a leadoff fly ball out from Maddox Mandino here in the top of the first inning. Keel dances at third, and the first pitch to Cole Chamberlain misses inside, 1-0. Chamberlain, the left-handed hitting catcher from Novato, California. Graduated San Marin High School. That's in the North Bay. His team ended up 22-9 and won the section title his senior year of high school. 1-0. And pitch in the dirt. Andrews keeps it in front, 2-0.
First changeup we've seen from Hunter Hammond. Not a bad one, just an interesting 1-0 spot with the bases loaded. Now you really have to pound the zone. You definitely don't want to walk in a run in the top of the first.
Hammond stands in from the stretch. Kill at third, Muma at second, and Clark at first. Top of the first inning here at Sinsheimer. Blues versus Foresters. And the 2-0 is painted on the black. 2 balls and 1 strike. Chamberlain, a Longhorn from the University of Texas. This past season played in 22 games and batted south of 200 with a 400 on base percentage. 15 walks to his 15 strikeouts. The 2-1. And Clark will take the slider for a called strike on the inner half, 2-2. Bases loaded, 1 out. The 10-2 Foresters against the 14-8 Blues in the top of the first inning. Hammond comes set from the belt. Strides and shoots. And that's taken on the inner half for strike 3. Big out there for Hunter Hammond as he collects his first strikeout of the day.
Goes right back to that inside pitch that Chamberlain lifted his hands on the 2-1 slider. Time went fastball right over the plate and got him looking. Big second out with the bases juiced.
We're kind of seeing right now Hammond getting some pitches on the inner part of the zone to left-handed hitters. And clearly, just by watching, you can see that this team is riddled with lefties. Here's Sawyer Farr, who is technically a lefty. He's a switch hitter. Batting left-handed against the righty Hammond, and he takes strike 1.
Very opposite-looking lineups. Only 2 righties and a switch hitter for the Foresters, and the Blues have 8 righties and a lefty.
The yin to the yang, basically. 0-1. Slider spinning and hitting the outer half for strike 2. Hammond kind of getting lucky with some calls here, seeing if he can put the bow on this at-bat against Farr. 2 outs, bases loaded for the Foresters, top of the first inning. The switch hitting Sawyer Farr. 0-2. And a slider taken in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Farr.
Pretty non-competitive 0-2 pitch. Really, with that 0-2 pitch, you want to set something up. You want to set up a 1-2 pitch. That one, didn't really set anything up because there was no chance that Farr was swinging at that.
1-2. And Farr will take it high and even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Farr with 13 runs driven in this summer. 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles, a triple in his 15 total heading into today's game. The switch hitter rests his barrel on his left shoulder, 2-2. And he'll take that one high, 3 balls and 2 strikes. The discipline from Sawyer Farr to not chase those elevated fastballs from Hammond.
Yeah, this is a big pitch here early in this game. Bases loaded, 2 outs, full count. Got to get an out here.
Hammond trying to escape the jam in the top of the first. Here it comes. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Clutch pitching from Hunter Hammond, and he gets out of the bases loaded situation. Blues are up in the bottom of the first inning. We're scoreless. The SLO Blues Streaming Network. Bottom of the first inning, Hunter Hammond gets out of a bases-loaded jam with a couple of strikeouts to end the first. Now it's the Blues' turn. Leading it off, it's the center fielder, E.J. Royal. Sam Arjois, the shortstop, bats second. Don Jordan batting third. Zach Tallman cleaning it up with Logan Hart batting fifth. Brendan Comerford bats 6, and Gavin Smith bats 7. Batting 8th, it's Cam Andrews with Diego Murillo rounding it out in the 9th spot. On the mound for the Santa Barbara Foresters, it's the left-handed pitcher Bryce Navarre.
Hunter Hammond just had to work out of a tough inning, a long half inning to start this game. And the Blues batters would love to give their starting pitcher a little bit extra rest.
There's Royal, who started 2 days ago against Santa Barbara in their 5-2 W against the Sturs. Royal takes the first offering, and it's a called strike on the outer half, 0-1. EJ, during this road trip, had his 6-game hitting streak come to an end. But in last game, he did record a single to start the game against Santa Barbara. The pitch, Royal swings and misses on an off speed for strike 2. A 1-for-5 day for EJ against Santa Barbara as the leadoff man. A couple of ground ball outs, lined out to center, struck out, and singled. Recorded a stolen base as well. Here he is on the 0-2 from the left-hander Navarre. From the windup, he strides and shoots. And the slider slipping out of his fingertips, misses outside, 1-2. Here's Royal in a 2-strike count against Navarre. Royal is late on this one and sends it up and out of play. We'll do it again at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Figuring out the timing, he got a firm fastball right there. Was a little late on it, but now he knows got to get that stride and load down a little bit earlier. You're going to see a lot of sliders from Navarre, though. Not a lot of fastballs, especially in 3-ball counts.
Here's the 1-2. Another slider slipping out of the fingertips of Navarre. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Royal. And Navarre is making his second start of the summer for Santa Barbara. He's pitched in 3 1/3 innings, allowed 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Another pitch getting away from Navarre, and it misses in the other batter's box. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So after being up ahead on E.J. Royal, all of a sudden a full count to the leadoff man.
I just mentioned heavy reliance on the slider in 3-ball counts.
Here's the payoff pitch. And Royal pops it up and into the bleachers. We'll do it again at 3-2.
Goes fastball there. Royal able to foul it off a little better time than the last fastball he fouled off. Still just going to have to battle, wait for the pitch he likes, and then drive it.
Long pause from the windup as Navarre gets his sign. The pitch. And it's taken for strike 3. E.J. Royal strikes out for the 11th time this summer, and there's 1 gun in the 5th.
There's changeup there. Not a pitch he throws all that often, right around the knees, and Royal was not expecting changeup. I think he saw the spin and thought it was a slider the whole way. Thought it was going to buckle in by his back foot and be ball 4, but he just watches it for strike 3.
Here's Sam Artois, the shortstop, and one of the hottest hitters on this Blues roster. He had a couple of extra base hits in this 3-game road series in which the Blues just returned from in Southern California. A home run and a triple for Artois as he takes that one for ball 1. Really starting to find his power swing this summer as Artois hits the transfer portal and looks for a new 4-year university. The 1-0. And Artois takes a changeup on the other side of the plate. 2-0 to Sammy. Sam starting in his 11th game of the summer for the Blues. 2-0. And Artois swings and misses for strike 1.
Big hack there from Sam. I love that in a 2-0 count. Got the pitch he was expecting and tried to take a crack at it.
Gripping and ripping like an absolute savage. Artois with 13 hits, 7 for extra bases. Sweeper missing outside. 3 balls and 1 strike to Sam. 4 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. Tied the team for first in doubles with Don Jordan. Both have 4 apiece.
Leads the team in extra base hits after this last weekend.
Don Jordan, the aforementioned Don Jordan, stands on deck for the Blues with 1 out. Here's the 3-1 to Artois. Pitch misses high and outside, and that's ball 4 to Sammy.
It's a really good at-bat for Ardois. He's not a guy who walks a whole bunch, so to see him be patient, take a rip at a 2-0 pitch that he liked and miss it, and then be patient and draw a one-out walk. Know his job is you have Don Jordan and Zach Tolman, both guys who can drive the ball into gaps on deck.
Don Jordan tied for first in extra base hits, or in doubles on the team leader in hits, against his former teammate Bryce Navarre from Texas. First pitch, and Jordan flinches on an offering that misses inside, 1-0. Both Jordan and Navarre spent this past season in Austin, Texas, playing for the Longhorns. Navarre getting some more playing time, though. 6 appearances, 6 2/3 innings pitch with an 8 ERA. 1-0, and the lefty picks off to first, and Ardois is back standing. In his first season at the University of Texas, Navarre, with those 6 2/3, hurled 8 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 6 earned runs. The pitch, and Jordan grounds it to the second baseman Farr, who flips to second to get the force out, and that's all they'll get. Ardois slightly slow to get up, but Farr gets the force out at second base, and there's 2 gone in the first inning.
Ardois almost beat that out because of how weird the spin was and how slow it was at second base. Trade places, Ardois in the dugout and Jordan on first with 2 outs now.
Here's Zach Tolman with a runner at first base. ZT making his 7th start of the summer for the Blues. From the stretch, Navarre peaks at first base, now delivers. And the slider just misses outside from the left-handed throwing Navarre for ball 1. And he's not getting that call that often. A team that's riddled with right-handed hitters for the Blues. He's trying to go with slider away to these guys. And the home plate umpire's not budging. Another pick at first base, and Jordan dives back safely.
And Navarre knows Jordan's speed. He saw it this last year in practice. Jordan just ripping bags left and right.
Comes set from the waist. Now the 1-0. And Tolman pops it high and deep in the air to left field. Mandino watches it go foul. It was one of those situations, if it's fair, it's gone. And it was tight-roping that foul line and landed almost in the parking lot foul.
97 miles an hour off the bat, 382 feet, but foul.
A cricket home run for Zach Tolman. A long strike 1 for ZT. He sits in an even 1-1 count. The pitch. Tolman watches the slider ripple into the zone for strike 2.
That's one of those swings where coach tells you, straighten it out. You're like, well, coach, easier said than done. I just ripped the ball 400 feet.
Long hold from the stretch, the 1-2. And Tolman watches a sweeper in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Don Jordan stands at first base. Hit a ground ball to the second baseman Farr, and they forced out Sam Ardois, trying to advance from first to second. So essentially Jordan just swapped places with Ardois. The 2-2. Tolman takes a slider off the back foot, and he's hit by the pitch, and he'll take first.
The Blues will take that. It puts a runner in scoring position with 2 outs for Logan Hart, who early in his Blues career but has been pretty solid so far.
We talk about the free ones from this Blues defense. Take a look at 2 days ago when they played the Foresters. Santa Barbara had 5 errors officially. So talk about giving stuff up. Santa Barbara is just as prone to those mistakes as the Blues are. You can see that here with the walk and the hit by pitch in this inning. Here's Logan Hart.
And batting number 40, the left fielder Logan Hart.
Hart started against the Foresters 2 days ago as well. 0 for 2 day with a couple of Ks, was hit by a pitch and walked. Scored 2 of the 5 runs that afternoon, and the Blues win. Making his 4th start of the summer, a late add for the SLO roster. Runners on first and second with 2 out. Bottom of the first inning at Sinsheimer Stadium. Hart in an open stance gets ready and swings at the first pitch, fouls it straight back for strike 1.
Hart's the only lefty in today's lineup, and facing the lefty, Navarre, a little bit of a disadvantage for Hart.
Navarre has only put one ball in play, and they've walked one guy here in the 4 batters faced this inning. 0-1. Hart takes a sweeper, strike 1. The Forester staff, the pitching staff, leads the CCL in whip, which is walks and hits per innings pitched, and 1.12. That is very good as a staff.
Extremely good. The Blues have a good whip. Their team whip is right around 1.4, and that is still considered pretty good.
0-2. And Hart will take it low and outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Typically, I would say that number, the 1.4, is the benchmark. It's the line. If you're below that, you're great. If you're above it, you might need to work on some stuff.
Blues at 1.48, so
yeah.
Essentially what that means is, every inning the Foresters are giving up about half a base runner less. So every 2 innings, a base runner less.
That's big. May not seem like it, but it is. 1-2. And Hart lines it foul the opposite way. We'll do it again at 1-2. That's the name of the game. Outs and base runners. That's the currency in baseball. You exchange one for the other. Unless you're the Crawdads or the Foresters, then you just cash in. Foresters with a team OPS above 800. That's well above everyone else in the CCL. The 1-2. Curveball lined into center field, and it drops in front of Keel for a base hit. Don Jordan will score. Tolman trots into third base. Blues strike first on an RBI single from Logan Hart.
Atta baby, way to get it done. Just the confidence the Blues need. I talked about giving Hunter Hammond a long break after a tough first inning, and Hart decides, let's score a run while we're at it.
Hart's look good so far in the early going for San Luis Obispo. It's a very repeatable left-handed swing. Easily served this one into right center. No chance for a Keel, even though he has all the speed in the world. And the Blues strike first. 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning. Here's Brendan Comerford now with runners at the corners. Zach Tolman at third and Logan Hart at first. First pitch to Comerford, and he swings and misses for strike 1.
Score a run, take the lead, and now you have the guy who leads the team in RBIs, averaging just under 1 a game, up at the plate.
0-1 to Brendan. He takes a slider low. 1 ball and 1 strike to Comerford. Brendan leads the whole CCL in league strikeouts. Trying to turn that around in this at-bat with another runner standing 90 feet away and one at first. He does lead the team in RBIs, though. Comerford lines it into left field, and that falls for a base hit. Tollerman trots home. Racing around third is Hart. Here he comes to the plate. The throw gets past the cutoff, and Comerford drives in 2 more runs for the Blues. They extend 3-0 in the first.
There you go. That's a good way to turn it around. If you want less strikeouts, so you just rip the ball down the line and score 2.
It's a 3-0 ball game, and Blues
Comerford, an extra base hit, another one for him. His second double of the season.
He had a triple in his last game and now a double today. And we're seeing an early mound visit, something that the Foresters will do a lot. They take a lot of mound visits, create a lot of disruptions. Scott Murray is out there talking to Navarre after giving up 2 straight hits and 3 runs in the first inning.
And Navarre already in some hot water, and hats off to the Blues, sticking to their plan that Rene Regalado told Ryan and I about before the game. We knew Navarre is going to come at you with a lot of sweepers, and we talked about seeing the red dot versus the wobbly red dot in the center of the baseball. That's how you pick up the slider. Clearly, there's a lot of wobbly red dots from Navarre.
Yeah, well, that one right there was a fastball in on the hands of Comerford, and he picked it up immediately. He didn't see that quarter spin or that red dot spin. He saw all 4 seams turning. It got a little handsy. Wasn't quite a barrel, but he was able to turn, get his hands through the zone quickly, and rip that one down the line. A beautiful piece of hitting to extend the Blues lead to 3, which That's big against this Foresters team that can hit the ball really well.
Sure is. All that's left is really good pitching for San Luis Obispo. Here's the first pitch to Gavin Smith, and he sends it straight back, strike one.
Also, what this does against a team of this caliber, we mentioned how good they are on the mound with that 1-1 whip. It instills so much confidence up and down the order. Even for E.J. Royal, who struck out looking, to see his team banging the ball around, it gives him confidence to do the same.
Here's Smith jittering in the batter's box. Swings and sends it into right center field, and that finds some real estate. Brendan Comerford will score. Smith trips trying to stretch it into a double, and Allo gets a leadoff or an RBI single. They'll try to tag him at first base, but the Blues cash in another run. 4-0 off the bat of Gavin Smith.
I was just seeing it so well right now. Smith wanted that double so bad, but slid and dove head first about 45 feet away from the bag and made the smart decision to head back. I think he still could have stretched it out anywhere else other than Sinsheimer, where that outfield grass is a little thicker and the ball stopped. It gets stopped a little bit more. So it was able to be cut off by the right fielder Clark before making it to the wall.
I still feel like he could have had the double had he had not tripped. I feel like he was in there standing regardless because, I mean, he is fast. He's a corner outfielder at a D1 college. That trip was costly. And it's Cam Andrews now after the athletic training staff checked in on Smith, who tripped over at first base. He's all good. He'll run for himself. And it's Cam Andrews, 3 hits in a row for San Luis Obispo.
Something the Blues honestly have not done all that much this summer. They did it in their last home game in the third inning, and a 3-run third inning that inevitably won them that game.
It's Andrews, the backstop, who caught against the Academy Barons in that 20-4 loss, and Andrews just got beat up that whole game. He was hit by a pitch at the dish, and he was hit by a couple pitches as a catcher. It was a long day. Had to block a lot of baseballs, had to jump out of the crouch numerous times to retrieve baseballs from the backstop. He's first pitch swinging here and hits it off the pitcher, Navarre, and that will be an infield base hit as Farr couldn't get there in time. Infield single, Cam Andrews, 4 hits in a row for the Blues, and there's runners on first and second.
The bats are here today. They're not messing around. And now you got Diego Murillo. And Nate and I were saying early in the year, Diego Murillo is sneaky good. He is just good now. His third straight start, he got our Blues Player of the Week last week, and he's going to prove why, hopefully, right now.
Yeah, nothing sneaky about Diego Murillo anymore. He's got an elite glove in the middle part of the infield and a very good bat-to-ball skill. The first pitch, and Murillo hits it off the hands. It's a slider that rolls to the first baseman Miller, who will tap the bag himself, and that'll do it. 4 hits in a row for the Blues. Drea drives in 4 runs. 4-0 San Luis Obispo. Heading to the second inning on the SLO Blues streaming network. Top two here at Sinsheimer Stadium. The Blues lead 4-0 against their rivals, the Santa Barbara Foresters. 4 hits in a row from Hart, Comerford, Smith, and Andrews, driving in 4 runs. The Blues have an early lead against Santa Barbara. It's 7-8-9 due up for the Foresters. Caden Miller leads it off in his Foresters debut, and he takes ball 1 against Hunter Hammond.
Most of that rally came with 2 outs as well. Ardwal walked with 1 out. Then after that, Don Jordan, fielder's choice. Hit by pitch, single, double, single, single.
Here's the 1-0, and Miller takes it outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Hitting coach Rene Regalado, who also coaches third for the Blues, talked about how the Blues, whenever they play against their rivals Santa Barbara, just have a different approach. And you can see that there with 2 outs. Sweeper misses low. 3 straight balls to the leadoff man, Caden Miller.
Hammond just had about a 20-minute break in the dugout, and I think it's super important that, 1, 2, 3 inning, maybe 4 batters.
And that's a called strike on the inner half, 3-1.
The bats are hot. Get them back up there. Get yourself back in the dugout. Why not?
Hammond rested up from the windup. Third baseman Comerford with his toes on the infield grass against the left-hander hitting Miller, batting 7th. Miller will take it high, and that's ball 4. A leadoff walk for the Foresters gets things going in the second.
It's not ideal right there if you are Hunter Hammond. Your team just put up 4 runs for you. You would love to at least not give up a run in this inning, keep your 4-0 lead. Hunter Hammond would love to go deep in this game. He's a guy who can throw 5, 6, 7 innings, but so far this season, only 4 1/3. That's the longest outing he's had.
I think all parties would enjoy Hammond going deep into this game. Here's Caleb Hoover, the DH, batting 8th. Hoover takes an off speed for a strike on the outer half. Batting 8th for some reason. If you look at his stats from this past season at Grayson College, you would not believe the numbers you were looking at. Hammond comes set from the stretch with Miller leading off first. The pitch is taken for a strike, 0-2. Caleb Hoover, in his lone season of junior college baseball, he's committed to play at South Carolina now, makes sense with a .339 average, a .506 on base, and an .839 slugging. Hoover takes strike 3.
Got another bottle of hot sauce, number 2719.
Hoover has struck out 12 times this summer, and Hunter Hammond sits him down in the second.
From Bon Ton Creole Cafe.
Look at that.
Here's number 12, Coleman Ryan.
We'll get in more into Hoover stats a little later, but Hunter Hammond wins the battle against the DH.
Between now and the next time he hits, do yourself a favor, go on X and just look him up and look at he posts every home run he hit this last year. Just enjoy.
For your viewing pleasure, it is worth it. Here's Coleman Ryan making his Foresters debut as he took strike 1 against Hammond on a slider. The pitch, another slider in the zone for strike 2.
Hammond, 5-pitch walk to Miller. Since then, he hasn't thrown a ball.
There's your strike throwing that you asked for. That's the key to success against the Foresters today. The 0-2. Slider, and it's weakly tapped to the third baseman, Comerford, who gets a hard hop, throws it over to Tellman at first on the run for the second out of the inning.
A very, very tough hop that Comerford had to deal with. He does a really good job not getting it on a super short hop. He gets it right as it's bouncing off the infield dirt. If he's, 2 inches further back, that is much harder play to make. Veteran move from 2-year junior college third baseman, now playing at Division I baseball.
Heading to Gonzaga in the fall. We've seen Comerford play a lot of first base this summer, and now we're seeing that move over to third, his native position. First pitch to Maddox Mandino, the leadoff man, is a called strike. And he looks very comfortable at that third base spot. He's willing to play first and will do it as long as the bat's in the lineup, of course. But he looks so much more smooth at the hot corner. 0-1. Mandino flinches, and it's a called ball outside, 1-1.
And not to mention this Blues team that has a bunch of throwing errors this year. Comerford is a much smaller frame than Tollerman, so a wider margin of error with Tollerman at first and Comerford at third.
Tollerman at 6'5" at first base as the 1-1 just misses high. 2 balls and 1 strike to Mandino. Maddox flew out to Logan Hart in left field the last time he was up. That was the first out of the ballgame. 0 for 1 day after getting a base hit yesterday. Takes this one high, 3-1. Mandino was 1 for 4 last game against the Blues. A couple of ground ball outs, a fly out to center in that single. Was also hit by a pitch. The 3-1. And Mandino will take it outside. It's ball 4. First base was empty, so Mandino will fill the void. And with 2 outs, the middle infield can just go the easy way at second base and get out of the inning.
Now number 2, the center fielder.
Here's manager for the Blues, Dean Traynor, coming out to the mound to talk to Hunter Hammond. The bullpen is empty for San Luis Obispo. And as we've said before, Traynor with 50 years of baseball experience and a handful of professional pitching experience doesn't always come to the mound to make a pitching change.
Just talking his guy through it. I don't know if, Hammond was intentionally, I put in air quotes, intentionally walking Mandino, would rather face Keel maybe, who's a righty, so you get a righty-on-righty matchup rather than a left-on-right matchup potentially. But just going out and having a chat with his pitcher. Dean knows how important, especially this at-bat, but this whole inning is. Your team just scored 4 runs. You would love to keep it a 4-run lead. 3 or 2, 1-run lead sounds way worse.
The Foresters never go down easy. To get a goose egg after putting up 4 against Santa Barbara would say a lot about how the Blues are playing today. Here's Terrence Kill. He was hit on the elbow the last time he was up by Hunter Hammond. Now with runners on first and second, he digs in with 2 outs. Here's the first pitch, and Hammond yanks a fastball low for ball 1. Caden Miller at second base and Maddox Mandino at first. Both reached via a walk. 3 walks on the day so far for Hunter Hammond. Just as many strikeouts too. 4-0 ball game. Blues lead in the top of the second inning. 1-0. And a fastball that misses high to Keel. 2 balls and no strikes to the Aggie from Texas A&M who just finished his just finished his freshman season. Drove in 26 runs this past season in Texas A&M. The 2-0. Slider, he checks his swing, but it doesn't matter. It's a called strike, 2-1.
Well, the Blues pitching, get rid of that Barons game. In their last 2 games, they've only allowed 3 earned runs against the Foresters and Riptide, 2 teams who are both in the playoff hunt in the South.
2-1. Both runners take off as this one's popped up to the left of the press box for strike 2. Mandino and Miller both taken off to the bag in front of them. Although it looked like Miller got the sign because he got a better jump, and Mandino looked like he was reading Miller to take off to second base.
Yeah, man, Miller had an incredible jump. He was halfway to second before the pitch was thrown. Halfway to third, excuse me.
Deuces wild. Here's the 2-2. This one dribbled to the third baseman, Comerford, who will just tap the bag and force out the runner, Miller, for the 3rd out of the inning. Hammond gets out of another situation with a runner in scoring position. Blues throw up that goose egg. 4-0 San Luis Obispo. Into the bottom of the 2nd we go. And a frame brought to you by Ancient Owl Beer Garden. Bottom of the second inning is brought to you by Ancient Owl Beer Garden and Bottle Shop just down the road from Sinsheimer Stadium. It is the home of the Slow Blues Watch Party all summer long. So come out to any road game and grab a beer and check out your Blues play at Ancient Owl Beer Garden. Ancient Owl, choose your beer wisely. A new pitcher for the Santa Barbara Foresters. It's Noah Waldeck. He faces E.J. Royal, and the leadoff man Royal takes strike one. Waldeck from College of St. Mary's in Moraga, California. Before that, a JUCO bandit at Palomar College. Royal takes a strike here, 0-2 to Royal. Palomar, one of the premier junior college programs in the state of California, made it to the finals this season and bounced Riverside City College. Royal sends this one out of play. We'll do it again at 0-2. I would know that because Sean York, a pitcher for the Blues, a former Tiger from Riverside City, told me about how the comments knocked him out of the playoffs. Pitch misses outside a Royal 1-2. What a shame.
What a shame.
Roll comments. Waldeck just played his first season at St. Mary's last year. 1-2. Royal swings, and it's a slow roller, gets past Waldeck, and the third baseman, Mumad, tried to barehand it, but couldn't come up with it. Infield single for E.J. Royal, and it leads off the second inning for the Blues.
Very un-EJ-like base hit this season. Last year, that's something I would have been like, yeah, that's E.J. Royal. This year, he's been barreling baseballs, and right there, he just dribbles that one and is able to leg it out.
That's the fifth hit of the day for the Blues, and we just started the second inning at Sinsheimer. It's Sam Ardois now with a runner at first base. First pitch, Ardois takes it outside, 1-0. And you talk about barreling baseballs. Ardois has been doing exactly that in this two spot for the Blues. Slugging .521 and playing in game number 11 this summer for San Luis Obispo. Royal takes off for second. Ball put in play on the right side. Second baseman Farr gobbles it up and throws it over to first to retire Ardois. That was a tough play for the second baseman Sawyer Farr because he was breaking towards second to cover the bag where E.J. Royal was stealing, and he had to throw on the brakes, cut back, and shuffle, field the ground ball, flip it over to first to get Ardois. He makes the play, and it's one out with Royal in scoring position. Here's Don Jordan. He reached on a fielder's choice the last time he was up and came around to score on Logan Hart's RBI single. The team leader in hits takes outside 1-0. Jordan playing in game number 21. He's only missed 2 games this summer for San Luis Obispo. Everyday guy in the portal after a season at UT Austin where he didn't see any action due to injury. The 1-0, and Jordan takes a fastball in the outer half for a strike. Don has driven in 9 runs this season. Potentially could reach double digits with Royal standing at second base. Blues up 4-0 in the bottom half of the second inning. 2 looks at second. Now Waldeck delivers, and Jordan swings and misses for strike 2.
Lost his fundamentals right there. Stepped in the bucket, pulled the head. He's got to dial it back in a 2-strike approach. Choke up a little bit, compress the swing, and find some outfield grass.
When Jordan makes contact with that swing, he hits it hard. The 2-1. Royal takes off to third. The catcher, Chamberlain, bobbles it, and the head-first slide. EJ in there safe. Royal steals third base on fast feet seat cushion night.
Now the approach changes a little bit. Instead of trying to find a ground ball through the infield and bring home EJ, the infield comes in. You're just looking to lift the ball in the air and into the outfield.
2-2, and Jordan pokes it foul the opposite way. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Exactly right, Ryan. Just trying to send a fly ball anywhere in the outfield. A strikeout or a ground out would not be ideal here. Royal, though, at third base, he sees downward angle in the baseball from Jordan. He's taking off no matter what. 2-2. And a curveball almost hits Jordan in the back, but he squats beneath the pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes now.
Jordan is definitely a guy you don't want to see hit. He's only been hit, I think, once this season, 3 times, but a guy who dealt with some injuries. Don't want to re-aggravate anything.
The payoff. And Jordan with a violent hack fouls it off the mid of Chamberlain behind home plate and stays alive in the full count. 3-2 count to Don Jordan. He's walked 10 times and struck out 15 heading into today's game. He's got E.J. Royal, the leadoff man, standing at third base with the infield playing in and 1 out. Blues up 4-0 in the bottom of the second. Here's the pitch. Jordan pops it up. Playable behind home plate. The catcher Chamberlain throws off his mask, and the ball drifts into the bleachers. We'll do it again at 3-2. I think the wind just kind of took that baseball into the orange row. Right away, it looked like Chamberlain was going to have a play on it, maybe have to scale the wall, but just sailed right into the bleachers. Another life for Don Jordan and a lengthy at-bat against Noah Waldeck, the new right-handed pitcher who replaced Bryce Navarre in today's game. Here's the 3-2, and Jordan fouls it off the face of Chamberlain. Again, staying alive in the full count is Don Jordan.
Pitch number 10 of the at-bat right here to Jordan. He's just battling it out. EJ on third. If you're going to hit a ground ball, you want it to be right back up the middle. Huge hole there.
3-2, and Jordan swings and sends it into left field. Mandino won't have a play as it one-hops the wall. Royal cruises in to score. Don Jordan an RBI double. Blues 5-0 over the Foresters. And one of the weirdest swings I've ever seen.
Yeah, it looked like it was a 2-strike approach all the way. And Jordan just kind of half swung, got really handsy, got the barrel through the zone quickly, and it just kind of flew off of his bat. And there was definitely a jet stream going from right to left at this ballpark, and I think it might have caught right in the jet stream and just kept going and going. One hop off the wall right at the 335 sign.
Now it's Zach Tellerman with Don Jordan at second base. He just drove in E.J. Royal, making it a 5-0 ball game at the bottom of the second. Here's the pitch, and Tellerman takes it for ball 1. One hop double at the 335 sign in left field. Royal was able to moonwalk home. Here's Tellerman, who was hit by a pitch earlier today and came around to score. Fastball called strike, 1-1. Tellerman making his 7th start of the summer for the Blues. Has a homer, a triple, and a double.
Kind of got that 2-out rally going, getting hit by that pitch in the first.
1-1. And Tellerman breaks his bat as he loops it into left field. Mandino dives and he can't get there. Jordan reaches third. Tellerman at first. He's lost a baseball bat, though. Runners at the corners for the Blues.
Dye's a hero, and man, the Blues are just hitting today. Another base hit. The Blues have 7, and they're third this inning.
I don't think we've seen the Blues ambush pitching the way that they have today all summer.
Yeah, if the Blues can hit like this for the rest of the summer, they're going to win the CCL.
And this is against the best team in the league, mind you.
This team that only gives up just over 1 base runner per inning, and the Blues have easily had, they've had 3 so far this inning, 4 batters in, and last inning they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
First pitch to Logan Hart misses outside, 1-0. Zach Tellerman at first base on that broken bat single. Don Jordan stands at third. Blues up 5-0 over the Foresters. Trying to push the envelope in the bottom of the second. Logan Hart, the 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
Hart wanted that one. Pitch was right there for him in his wheelhouse and swung over the top of it.
Riley Marcotte, the left-hander, gets loose in the Blues bullpen. Still just 1 out in the bottom of the second. Hart will take an off-speed low, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Hunter Hammond hasn't given up a run, but 5 base runners and already is up over 50 pitches in 2 innings. So Dean Traynor looking to the bullpen early.
The 2-1. Hart spits on an offering outside. 3 balls and 1 strike now. Logan in the driver's seat against Noah Waldeck. Hart drove in the first run of the day for San Luis Obispo with an RBI single in the first inning. Here's the 3-1. Hart swings and foul tips it into the mid of Chamberlain.
I'm surprised we're not seeing anyone get loose for the Forsters. Waldeck is about to throw pitch number 27.
Jordan at third, Tollerman at first. The payoff to Hart. Swings and sends it straight back. We'll do it again. That's one thing about this Blues offense today. It's still pretty early. But we have kind of a solid sample size, though, almost 2 times through the order. Not a lot of swing and miss.
Which is surprising. 53, or the starter, Navarre, had a 53% whiff rate on his slider.
3-2. And Hart takes it outside. A walk loads the bases for the Blues.
Exactly the type of game the Blues needed. Another really great inning. You bring Comerford to the plate. He already has 2 RBIs on a double today, and he leads his team in RBIs with 19, including today's game. He's hit extra base hits in back-to-back at-bats, going back to his game against the Foresters on Sunday.
Here he is with the bases juiced. Comerford dribbles it off the hands. The shortstop, Ryan, charges it, throws on the run to first, and they retire Comerford, but Don Jordan comes in to score. RBI ground out for Brendan Comerford. Makes it a 6-0 ball game in the second.
A very, very productive out. They only are able to get 1 out at first. A run scores, and you still have 2 in scoring position for Gavin Smith.
Out number 2 now in the inning. Zach Tellerman advanced to third, and Logan Hart into second. So 2 in scoring position for Gavin Smith, who had an RBI single in the first. He takes ball 1 here, 1-0 to Gavin Smith. Smith has driven in 13 so far this summer. Like that 14 after his last at-bat. The 1-0. Smith swings and cues it into the on-deck circle on the Blues side for strike 1.
And Smith is a guy with proven power. As long as he can put the barrel on the ball, it goes a long way.
Waldeck comes set in the shadows. Here's the 1-1, and Smith chases the high fastball for strike 2. One-two to Smith. Gavin late again, sending it out of play. 1-2 to Smith. The most runs the Foresters have given up this summer is 9. That was in their 9-5 loss against the Conejo Oaks over 2 weeks ago. A 1-2. And Smith takes it on the outer half for strike 3. Tellerman and Hart are stranded in scoring position, but the Blues add on a couple more. An RBI double from Don Jordan and an RBI ground out from Brandon Comerford, make it a 6-0 ball game. Into the third we go. SLO Blues Streaming Network.
At the plate.
Blues tack on a couple more. 6-0 San Luis Obispo in the top half of the third inning. An RBI ground out from Brandon Comerford and an RBI double from Don Jordan extend the Blues lead as Hunter Hammond comes back out there. He'll face 3-4-5 for the Foresters. Easton Mumaz first. Mumaz first pitch swinging and sends it straight back, strike one. Mumaz the only Forester today to record a base hit. Blues have 7 so far, and we're just starting the top of the third inning. Offensive explosion for San Luis Obispo today. And Hammond's been doing his part too. 0-1. Mumaz takes outside 1-1. Hammond has gotten himself into a couple of jams, but worked his way out of it. Bases loaded in the first, runners on second and third in the second. Pitch misses outside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Easton Mumaz. Mumaz singled in the first inning and was stranded at second base in that bases loaded jam. Here's the 2-1. And Mumaz takes a slider in there for a strike. Easton batting third for the Foresters, a native of El Paso, Texas, and a vaquero from UT Rio Grande Valley. The 2-2. Pokes it the opposite way, right to the third baseman, Comerford, who makes the play. And that's the first out of the third inning. Mumaz out after lining it out to the third baseman, Comerford, with 2 strikes, and it's Brenton Clark. Clark walked the last time he was up in the first. Hammond, the starting pitcher for the Blues, has 3 walks on the day. Pair that with 3 strikeouts as well. The left-hander from Louisiana Lafayette, Riley Marcotte, is getting hot though. Slider misses inside to the left-handed hitting Brenton Clark for ball 1. A lineup riddled with left-handed hitters. 6 lefties and 1 switch hitter out of 9. And that's a called strike against Clark, 1-1. Brenton from Texarkana, Texas, redshirted his first season at Arkansas. The 1-1 shows bunt, pulls it back, and it's taken for ball 2. University of Arkansas famously had a gut-wrenching loss in the semifinals of the College World Series. A walk-off winner, Louisiana State, who eventually won it all. The 2-1 swings and flares it into the Foresters bullpen for strike 2. Jared Jones was the hero for the LSU Tigers in that game, and fortunately for Brenton Clark, he didn't have to be there to experience that heartbreak. The 2-2, and the slider misses low, fills it up to 3 balls and 2 strikes.
If you're Hammond, you just got to keep pounding the strike zone. Did a good job against Mamu. Now you're at throwing pitch number 63 right here.
The payoff. Swing and a lazy pop out to center field. Royal ranges to his right and calls off his left fielder Hart to make the grab for the second out of the third inning.
There you go, more soft contact. This Foresters team has 1 hit, and it was an infield single. They haven't hit the ball particularly hard, so obviously you don't want to throw the ball right down the middle. But just keep pounding the strike zone, keep throwing a lot of strikes. You're going to keep generating soft contact.
Ironic that the Foresters haven't scored already, and like you said, hit a baseball hard yet as Cole Chamberlain steps in and takes ball 1 against Hammond. Because the Foresters lead the whole CCL in team OPS with 823. That's 36 points higher than second place, which is the Walnut Creek Crawdads. And they average almost 9 runs a game as an offense. Chamberlain moves his hands over a pitch inside, 2-0. And what Hunter Hammond is doing right now is very impressive based on those numbers. And as we've said before, Hammond's kind of a guy who's struggled a bit this season for the Blues. 2-0. Chamberlain pops this one up. Playable on the left side of the infield. Comerford scales it in foul ground, comes back and makes the one-handed grab to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down against Hunter Hammond. Blues up 6-0. Into the bottom of the third inning we go. Blues ahead on the Slow Blues Streaming Network.
And I will do that if you have
8-9-1 due up for San Luis Obispo. A 6-0 ball game. They lead the best team in the CCL. First pitch swinging, it's Cam Andrews for strike one against Noah Waldeck, who heads out there for his second inning of work. Andrews today singled in the first inning, a part of that strand of 4 hits in a row that produced 4 runs for the Blues. Andrews fouls this one on off the hands and into the grass bleachers for strike 2.
Quickest inning on the mound for Hammond, going right back up there as Waldeck, and he has to face the bottom of this order, which Cam Andrews and Diego Murillo are usually not 8-9 hitters, typical.
0-2, and Andrews sends it straight back into the screen. We'll do it again at no balls and 2 strikes. And Ryan and I have talked about the workload for Hunter Hammond. While he has gotten out some jams, number one, they're self-inflicted jams with walks, and number 2, the pitch count's rather high for Hammond. The 0-2 to Andrews, and pokes it to the second baseman Farr, who comes in on it. Can't get a grip in his glove, and Andrews is out at first base. Cam hustling down the first base line, wanted that safe call so bad he tried to sell it, but doesn't get it from the first base umpire. 1 out in the third.
Well, I think he knows how important it is that the Blues continue to tack on. As you mentioned, Nate, this team averages 9 runs a game. It's only a matter of time before they have a blow-up inning and put some runs on the board. The Blues want to make sure they are as far ahead as possible when that happens.
Here's Diego Murillo, the reigning Blues Player of the Week, and a very successful road trip down in SoCal as he's tardy on a fastball here and flares it into the Blues bullpen for strike 1. Murillo's making his 10th start of the summer, was kind of fighting for a middle infield position, but with no Eli Henderson and Kosei Suzuki having less playing time more and more each day, that spot's becoming a little more open for Diego Murillo, who flashes a real nice leather and makes good contact with the baseball too, as he sits here in an 0-2 count against Noah Waldeck. Murillo's making his 11th start of the summer. He has 11 hits and 30 at-bats. With 2 doubles, he's driven in 5. 0-2. Murillo swings and misses for strike 3. Drop third strike, and the throw goes into left field as they try to throw it around. 2 gone in the third inning. And a strikeout to Diego Murillo, his 4th of the summer.
Back to the top of the order for the Blues. It's number 50, the center fielder,
It's the leadoff man now, E.J. Royal. 2 games in a row with a base hit. Recovering from a 6-game hitting streak, which came to an end on this road trip. Now starting to build it back up once again. The team leader in batting average. First pitch to him, and it's a called strike, 0-1. Royal with 1 home run. It was against the San Francisco Seagulls. And Ardois had a home run on this road series in SoCal, 0-1, as Royal sends it back for strike 2. And with that home run by Sam Ardois, the Blues have now surpassed their season total from 2024.
That was a successful 2024 as
It
well.
was.
They were a playoff team.
0-2, EJ checks his swing and foul tips it off the leg of Chamberlain behind home plate.
They finished that season in the regular season 29-15, 20-13 in league. A very successful year. Honestly, they just weren't a team that slugged all that much last year, and they're not, a great slugging team again this summer. It's just a really hard ballpark to slug at. You got a team 379 slugging. You probably want that to be right around the 400 mark, maybe a little bit higher than that. Tough ballpark to slug at, as I mentioned, but it's been coming around more and more. We're seeing more doubles and triples. I mean, the Blues have 2 extra base hits in today's game, and Nate and I have talked about that magic number. You want about 3 extra base hits a game.
Well, they're almost there with their 2. 0-2, and Royal chases the slider for strike 3. 3 up, 3 down, following Hunter Hammond facing the minimum. We head into the 4th inning. Blues up 6-0 over the Foresters on the SLO Blues streaming network.
In a moment or two, you will see the Batting number 5,
Hunter Hammond back out there. 4th inning of work for him as he will face Sawyer Farr, Caden Miller, and Caleb Hoover. Those are the 3 due up. First it is Farr, the second baseman. He swings at the first pitch and flares this one foul. Right over the orange row and into the grass pavilion behind the orange seats here at Sinsheimer. It's become a pretty chilly Tuesday evening. 61 degrees, sun is still out, wind is blowing hard from right to left. Here's the 0-1, half swing, appeal. He did not go around, says the third base umpire, 1-1.
How lucky are we to have a chilly night? Have you seen the temperatures across the country? A crazy heat wave, devastating like most of the country. And here we are, 74 degrees. Oh, my Q-zip.
The 1-1 misses outside, 2-1. Yeah, I was surprised when I walked into the ballpark today. Before every game, our uniform includes beige or tan pants or shorts. As here's the 2-1, a fastball in the inner part. And, I check the forecast to decide, am I going to wear shorts or pants today? I keep into account, 6 o'clock game, it's going to be cold at the end. I saw today, it's going to be about 50 when the game ends, or at least when we leave here around 10. 2-2, swung on and chopped on the infield. Hammond will play it on a bounce, flip it over to Tollerman at first. Speeding down the line was Farr, but he will be out for the first out of the inning.
It's getting down to 50?
The low today is 50, so I assume it'll be around like 54, 55 when we leave here around 10.
Still not great.
Yeah, so I put pants on, and when I walked up to the ballpark and saw you in shorts, I was like, whoa. Because it was cold like when I left my house. I was like, I would wear pants on a normal day right now.
I think I'm just so locked in on TikTok and everyone talking about how hot it is. I go, it's hot here too.
Yeah.
I also live in Atascadero.
True.
Which is like 20 degrees warmer.
One is in the dirt and past Andrews behind the plate. Yeah, I'm staying the night tomorrow up in Santa Margarita, and it's supposed to be, 83 to 90, give or take. And I will definitely be packing shorts. One thing, though, I'll give some context. It's for a work retreat. And last year when I went on the retreat, I got bitten alive by mosquitoes. That one way high of Andrews. It's 2-0. So I might wear some sweats this year, at night at least, to avoid the mosquito bites and just suck it up, even though it's going to be 80.
No pun intended.
Yeah. We'll see. It's going to be interesting when I pack tonight. Here's the 2-0. Slider in the dirt in front of home plate. Is very quickly 3-0. Hammond out of control in this at-bat. Up over 70 pitches now. Will be pitch 75 right here in 3 1/3 innings. 3-0. Misses low, ball 4. A 4-pitch walk to Caden Miller, making his Foresters debut, his second walk of the day.
Hammond just looking for a ground ball right now. You got a runner on first base and 1 out. You luckily made the nice play to flip it over to Tolman at first base to get out number 1. Now all you need is a weak ground ball from Caleb Hoover, which that's a tall order for this kind of hitter. But today, a strikeout looking against Hunter Hammond. And the Blues held him at bay last game against the Foresters, too. 0 for 3 with a pop-out, a ground-out, a strikeout, and a walk. So hitless against the Blues so far.
First pitch swinging, first pitch fouling is Hoover, the designated hitter in today's game. And, Nate and I were ogling over his numbers prior to the game. And I immediately said he had to have played at like a Little League park. We went and looked. The dimensions are legit. And then we found the Twitter. He posted all 16 of his home runs at Grayson College, and I would say 13 of them were mauled. Sword right there, and it's 0-2.
You knew immediately. And sometimes it's hard to tell on the phone because you're not in like real life, but hearing it and seeing it, they were demolished.
From the stretch, the 0-2 swung on and sliced into left center field. On the run is Royal. He will get there for the second out of the inning. Rangy play from the center fielder Royal to retire Hoover.
And people don't know how hard of a catch that is. Everyone in the stands and everyone watching the stream just goes, okay, yeah, that's what a center fielder is supposed to do. No, This is a left-handed hitter slicing a ball the opposite way, and the wind is pushing it away from E.J. Royal. You have to get a perfect jump to get a beat on that ball. E.J. legged it out and made the running grab while his head was bobbing in the outfield grass at Sinsheimer. That was a really good play.
Big lead. He goes. Throw down from Smith. It's going to be late. Good throw. Murillo applied the tag, but just a great jump from Caden Miller to get a stolen base, his first as a Forester.
That was a dart from Cam Andrews behind the plate. I think he just got it off a little bit too late. A little extra half second of getting his grip, but otherwise on the money to Murillo at second base.
Miller now on second with 2 outs. Runner in scoring position. As that one is ripped, but right at Hart and into the heart of his glove. A 1-out walk, a stolen base, but the runner is stranded on second base. Hunter Hammond through 4 scoreless here on the SLO Blues streaming network. Ardois, Jordan, and Tollerman due up for the Blues. Those 3 guys have a combined 2 hits, 3 runs, an RBI, a walk, a hit by pitch. Guys that have just started rallies for the Blues here early in this game as they still lead it 6-0 and have held the Foresters at bay thus far. Ardois fouls the first pitch fastball back to the net. Waldeck in his 3rd inning of work had a rough 2nd inning, giving up 2 runs on 3 hits, but a bounce-back 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd. That was to face maybe the hottest hitter in this Blues lineup in Sam Ardois, as that one misses away.
Every Blues batter in today's lineup as we approach the 3rd time through the order, except for one, has reached base safely.
Ardois, broken back grounder to second. Farr will field it and throw it over to Miller at first for the first out of the inning. Second broken bat induced by Waldeck.
Second broken bat in the game, 3rd on the day. Mason Ashlock broke his bat in batting practice. Something's in the air.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, off the end of the bat, and he said, I love that bat too.
Man, I got here a little late today, so I didn't get to see
Yeah.
Ashlock's batting practice. That's just brutal.
Final pitch he saw in the bubble broke the bat.
A game winner?
Game winner.
He broke a bat? Oh,
Yep.
That's brutal.
Died a hero, would have won the game. It's good rep.
Knowing Ashlock, it was probably 412 feet to left center. Was away, tending to some health-related stuff for the road trip as Jordan fouls that one back and over the press box to even it up at 1-1. But rejoice. Well, plenty of opportunities this week for Ashlock to be in the lineup. Another game tomorrow against the Foresters as the 1-1 misses outside. I think a game Thursday against the Riptide, Friday against the Indians, Saturday against the Foresters, and then Sunday on the road against the Foresters. Two-one misses outside. And Nate, if I were a Foresters fan, I'd be kind of upset with the schedule this week because 3 of the 5 home games for the Blues are against the Foresters, but they missed Jersey night on Thursday.
Oh. That's brutal.
Here's the 3-1. Jordan watches a fastball in the outer half for a called strike.
A couple years ago, when I was the social media director on the Blues, Jersey night did fall on a game against the Foresters. And I made a post. If we see any Santa Barbara apparel, we're kicking you out.
Strike 3, looking to Don Jordan. First time he is struck out today, and it's the second out of the inning. After giving up a single and then a double, another single, and a walk in the second inning, Waldeck has recorded 7 straight outs. Blues bats have gone a little quiet. Granted, that first out that he recorded was an RBI ground out. Here's Tollerman. 2 outs and nobody on as he watches that fastball low, smothered by Chamberlain.
Don't be complacent now on offense here. You've proven that you can hit this guy Waldeck. Keep going.
The 1. Called strike. 1-1. And Nate and I were discussing what jerseys we were going to wear prior to the game today during batting practice as Tollerman swings and misses. The 1-1. And I'm quite the collector. My collecting has died off a little bit since I've become a college student because I have less funds to buy jerseys.
Yep.
But when I was in high school, I collected a good amount. As Tollerman swings and misses for strike 3. 4 strikeouts in the last 2 innings for Waldeck, but the Blues still lead it 6-0 as we will head to the top half of the 5th inning here on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Brought to you by SLOCal.com.
New pitcher for the Blues, it's Riley Marcotte, teammate of Sam Ardois, Ragin' Cajun from Louisiana Lafayette.
Back to the top of the order now for the Foresters with Maddox Mandino.
The lefty will face a lefty-loaded lineup as the first pitch slider to the leadoff batter. Mandino is a swinging strike. Excuse me. Marcotte, 3 appearances this year, giving up 4 earned runs in his 6 innings pitched. as Mandino swings and misses at another slider. 7 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Strikes out a lot of batters, doesn't give up a lot of hits, just struggles with the walks. Here's the 0-2, misses away. Here's the 1-2. The fastball is hit into left field. Not very well. Hart will range over and make the grab for the first out of the inning.
Is on the bottom of your program. If you have a purple or a green or a red dot, you'll want to know which color horse to cheer for. In the
decision to go to a lefty for Dean Traynor in what is a lefty-filled lineup. The top 5 batters, 4 out of the 5 are lefties. The only righty is in the box right now, Terrence Kill. And then bottom 4, you have a switch hitter, a lefty, and a righty. So 6 lefties, 2 righties, and a switch hitter as Keel watches ball 1 inside.
Doesn't seem to matter so far for this Foresters offense, though. They throw out a slew of left-handed hitters against the right-hander Hunter Hammond and only recorded 1 base hit and couldn't get any runs across in 4 innings.
1-0 is chopped up the middle, not very well. Murillo ranges to his right. The throw to first is on time. Good play by Diego Murillo, flashing the leather to his arm side.
Diego Murillo does it again. It all started when he was a 6-year-old in his backyard with his older brothers making him pick baseballs on his knees, and it shows up here playing second base. Murillo throwing across his body, all momentum going away from the bag. How does he do it? Great play, Diego Murillo.
Our player of the week last week struggled at the plate so far today, makes up for it right there with his glove. Now it'll be Easton Mumau as he swings and misses at a first pitch slider. As Nate mentioned, Hunter Hammond's day is done. 4 innings pitched, a hit, no runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Very good outing for Hunter Hammond, easily his best of the summer. Here's a slider. That one misses just low, 1-1. Excuse me, 4 walks for Hunter Hammond. Owen misses inside, and he got himself into a couple of jams with those walks. He also hit a batter, but he was able to work out of it every single time. The only time he sent the Packers packing in order was in the 3rd inning. Their fastball for a called strike 2. Deuce is wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
I mean, as long as you can get out of the jam, right? The only thing that comes with that is your pitch count going up, and that's what happened today.
Here's the pitch. Slider misses away. Really good spot and a 2-2 count.
Yeah, it didn't miss by much to Mumau. The left-on-left slider, kind of the same action as if a right-hander like Hammond gave Mumau a changeup, but it didn't miss by the plate by that much. It's a great pitch.
A really good idea and a 2-2 count, as now it's full. It's another slider, late swing by Mumau, and it's dribbled back to the netting.
This time, instead of starting that slider in the center part of the strike zone and it breaking away, he starts the slider in the inner half of the zone to the left and hitting Mumau. It breaks in the strike zone, and that's why the third baseman took a hack at it.
Worked inside, worked outside. We'll see what he goes to. Another full count offering. Swung on and tapped between his legs.
And how about that, going slider away to the left-handed hitting Mumau, and then you mix it up with a fastball in on the hands? It's deceptive to the hitter. It makes you guess.
Fastball, I feel like, opens up so many possibilities. We'll see what he goes to. Another fastball. This one misses high, ball 4. A 2-out walk for Easton Mumau. He is the only Forester base batter except Caden Miller to reach base twice today. Single in the first and now a walk in the 5th.
Well, Marcotte, I think the idea there was to try to get Mumau swinging and missing at his eyes, but Mumau didn't offer. He was picking away with the slider and slowly climbed back in towards the hands of the left-hand hitting Mumau. It's a good at-bat by the third baseman. He draws the 2-out walk.
Now it's the right fielder, Brenton Clark. 0 for 1, a walk and a fly out. First pitch slider blocked by Andrews. Went 1 for 3 in Sunday's game with a walk and a run. One of 2 runs that they had in that game, and a 5-2 victory for the Blues. Blues are on a 2-game win streak. Another slider. This one drops in for a called strike one. Brenton Clark comes into this game with a .400 batting average on the summer. Texarkana native, 1-1. Look out. Up towards the chin of Clark as he ducks away. Gets himself in a hitter's count, 2-1, with Muma on first. There's the 2-1. Another slider. This one misses away. And this is a guy who knows how to take walks. 13 walks to his 2 strikeouts this summer. That is unheard of.
That's very good. And if you're Riley Marcotte, that tells me you're not getting a lot of nibbles.
That one misses inside. Walk number 15 on the summer for Brandon Clark.
2 walks on the day for Clark. He's reached base in 2 of his 3 plate appearances. And all of a sudden, 2 runners on for the Foresters with 2 outs on back-to-back walks.
You know, he's also a guy who can slug. He has a couple of doubles this year, but kind of an odd cleanup hitter. He's more of a guy I would expect, in the leadoff spot, maybe batting 5th or 6th, but a guy who walks that often, usually you don't want cleaning it up.
He's only driven in 7 runs this summer for the Santa Barbara Foresters. Typically, at this point in the season, you see that number a little bit higher. Granted, he has only played in 11 games. The Foresters are only in game number 13. Blues have played in 10 more contests.
Especially for a team that scores so many runs. He's an everyday cleanup hitter. You would definitely expect more out of him, but it makes sense. He's been to the plate now 52 times this year, and 15 of them he's drawn a walk as well. He hasn't been hit, actually, so 15 of his 52 plate appearances have ended with him at first base via a walk, as now it's Cole Chamberlain, the Novato native, just up the road from my hometown, as that one is blocked by Andrews. Great job sliding to his left to keep that one right over the plate.
And Chamberlain going from the North Bay to Austin to play for the Longhorns. Spent his first season at Texas this past year and played in 22 games as a true freshman.
How he finds his way to Central Coast, California, 5.5 hours south of his hometown. There's the 1-1, swung on and hit off the hands and back to the net behind home plate.
They made some memories in that hometown at San Marin High School where they won a section title, and he was the 2nd in the nation in home runs among catchers with 10. Drove in 45 runs, too. That's the most in California among catchers in that season, his senior season.
And I can see why he got an offer to go play at Texas, a .840 slugging his senior year of high school. Yeah, that is definitely Division I numbers straight out of high school. He's behind 1-2. Another slider, another great block behind the plate by Cam Andrews. We saw him put on a clinic against the Barons less than a week ago. Now he's doing the exact same tonight.
Andrews puts in that work, man. He's going to give you 110% every time he's behind the dish. No pitches off. I love it.
Blues have a really good rotation of catchers, just like they did last year. Here's the 2-2, swung on and fouled over the netting. Last year it was Goff, Button, and Estabrook. This year it's Andrews, Caruso, and Button. And it's a constant rotation. Dean Traynor, I think, really likes having 3 good catchers because they play a game and you get 2 days off. Make sure that his catchers don't get tired as a righty is getting loose in the Foresters bullpen. Here's the Deuces Wild offering. A fastball raising the hands is Chamberlain, and the count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with 2 runners on. 5-hole hitter and the catcher, Cole Chamberlain, in the box. dangling his left arm as he gets the sign. Now he comes set at the chest. Here's the pitch. Ball 4. 3 straight walks with 2 outs from Riley Marcotte to load the bases for Sawyer Farr.
There's still no life in that Blues bullpen. Trainer wants Marcotte to get out of this himself. This is why we play summer ball, right? Get these reps in situations like this. Marcotte kind of even to prove something here after allowing those 3 walks in a row. Can you get out of this jam? And as someone who has entered the transfer portal, this is a big moment to try to prove it to coaches and players alike out there that he is a worthy pitcher at the college level.
And if I'm Dean Trainer coming out there right now to go talk to his reliever, I would probably remind him just the fact that this Foresters team has yet to really make hard contact with a baseball today. They have 1 hit, and it was an infield single. And outside of that, I'd say the hardest hit ball was a line out to Brendan Comerford that, if I had to guess, was around 85, 88 miles an hour. So, not very well hit. And the defense has looked good today. No errors thus far. Just let him put a ball in play. Let him make some soft contact. And at this point, you walk him loaded. If he's going to drill a baseball into a gap, at least you did your best to not walk in a run. I think that would be the worst case scenario here for the Blues.
I would say, though, Ryan, you are playing with fire with that kind of logic because, yes, the Foresters have not hit the baseball well today. And today, this team on the field at Sinsheimer is not been good at cashing in runners in scoring position. But think about the track record. The Foresters, when they smell blood, they attack.
First pitch to Farr is a ball low, 1-0. The Foresters today, with runners in scoring position, are 0 for. Have a couple of walks, but have yet to record a hit. Here's the 1-0. It's a called strike.
They get up on the hitter, Sawyer Farr, with that changeup. It's a good pitch. The left on right changeup. The hitter Farr saw it and spit on it, but it was a called strike. The switch hitter batting right-handed, by the way.
First at bat from the right side in today's game for Farr as he dribbles that one right back to the mound. Off one hop is Marcotte. He will toss it to Tollerman and get himself out of the jam. More runners stranded for the Foresters. They're up to 9 in today's ball game, but the Blues lead it 6-0 on the SLO Blues streaming network. Blues back up. Hart Comerford Smith against the new pitcher, Sam Stevens. No relation to the PGA golfer. This guy plays baseball over at the university, or Xavier, excuse me. Originally from Austin, Texas. Last season, only threw 2 2/3 innings at Xavier and faces Hart, who has only been with the Blues for about a week but has looked very good thus far. Blues are excited to have him both defensively. He's looked good. At the plate, he's looked good. And today, he has an RBI single and a walk. Swings and misses at that changeup to even up the count at 1-1.
And Stevens making his second appearance of the Summers for the Sturs. He pitched in 1 inning the last time he was out there. Got a couple of Ks. SLO. That's it.
Here's the 1-1. Curveball. That's trapped by Chamberlain behind the dish.
Xavier?
No. I might be able to get them, actually. They're a big Division I program as Hart chops that one very softly right back to the new pitcher, but nobody's covering first. He runs all the way over and applies the tag. And people say pitchers aren't athletes.
Wow, I'm not sure what Miller was doing that time. I mean, the pitcher Stevens had the ball for the whole play. He ran it himself to first. He was getting ready to flip it, and Miller looked like he was running towards the pitcher Stevens. I've never seen that thought process before, but Stevens luckily recognized it at the last second and raced over to get Hart, who is not slow.
The only thing I could think of is that maybe he thought his pitcher wasn't going to get to that ball, but in that case, the runner is going to be safe at first. So, regardless, it's an out after was going to go down as just a 1U, but is ultimately a really good play by the pitcher. Comerford watches a slider that misses for ball 1. Fastball right there, 1-1, and Comerford, the first Blue this summer to get to 20 RBIs. 2 in the first, he had 1 in the second, a double and a ground out respectfully. That one misses, is a called strike down around the knees. That's cumulative for the summer. As Comerford swings and misses, strike 3 swinging.
That's the CCL leader in strikeouts right there. Comerford goes down swinging for the first time today, though. Put a couple balls in play. One of them bringing in 2 runs on that double, but he swings and misses here. Gets folded for strike 3.
Now it's Gavin Smith. Gavin Smith and Brendan Comerford I see as very similar players. They're both guys who have tons of power but struggle with the strikeouts. Today, Smith also has a strikeout. It was looking, and then an RBI base hit. He was stranded. As he swings and ropes that one into left field for a base hit. It one-hops and almost gets over the head of the left fielder, Mandino, but he will jump up and keep it to a single. Gavin Smith has his second base hit of the day and his third in the last 2 games.
Look at that. With 2 outs, Gavin Smith putting bat to ball, and that was an awkward hop to the left fielder Mandino there. He had to really levitate to get to that baseball. But easy does it for Gavin Smith, and keeps it alive for the Blues with 2 outs.
Now it's Cam Andrews, who we have to go all the way back to, I believe it's June 6th. That's the last time Cam Andrews has gotten a start and not recorded a hit. He only plays every 3 games because of that catcher rotation. But when he's in there, pretty consistently going 1 for 3, 1 for 4. Well, in that game that he missed, or that he didn't get a hit, he had 2 walks and an RBI on one of those walks as he nubs that one just foul. And the umpire over at first base, I believe, said that it hit off the knee of Cam Andrews. He signaled that, and Pintard is not pleased.
Bill Pintard, the legendary manager for the Santa Barbara Foresters, trying to get some clarification with the home plate umpire here, as the first base umpire now has a second opinion.
Mr. Putter's Putt Putt Mini Golf, as well as Mustang Private
Yeah,
Golf.
and it hit off the knee of the batter, Andrews. Andrews is feeling it, too. It looks like he's limping around a little bit as he talks to third base coach and hitting coach Rene Regalado. Oh, yeah, he's definitely feeling it. He's walking with a limp back into that batter's box.
Man, this kid just gets beat up every single game, but he still heads out there and puts together a nice play, a nice defense at the backstop, and solid at bats too.
Oh, it's a 1-1 count with Smith at first. Went in the dirt and caught on the backhand by Chamberlain. Cam Andrews finds himself in a hitter's count. 2-out single by Smith after a great play by the pitcher and a strikeout as Cam Andrews swings and misses, and Smith is caught in the middle but slides all the way back to first.
Andrews kind of got fooled by that pitch there. Yes, yes, yes. No, yes in the middle of the swing.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to the catcher as he watches a changeup. Misses low. That one much better. The 1-2 was yes, 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 no. That one was yes, no.
Yeah.
Saw much quicker that pitch was not going to be a strike. The count's full, which means Gavin Smith is going to take off from first base. There he goes. The pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Cam Andrews goes down. Way of the K. That is the Blues' 5th strikeout their last time through the order. 6 strikeout their last 9 batters. Had a hard time putting the ball in play after what was an explosive beginning of this game. Still 6-0 here on the SLO Blues streaming network. Bottom of the order for the Sturs as they trail at 6-0 here on a lovely night on the Central Coast. First pitch from Marcotte to Miller as he squares the bunt and pulls it back for ball 1.
Marcotte really trying to find the strike zone now after last inning. 3 straight walks in a row, got bailed out on a comebacker right to him.
There's a called strike on the outer part. Very similar pitch. That one just started a little more over the plate. The Blues have given up 9 base runners today. And Forsters have yet to score. That is a perfectly placed bunt down the first baseline, but just trickles foul and then between the legs of Tollerman.
It's kind of lost focus last second in foul territory. When you're talking about base runners allowed, it's honestly somewhat of a miracle that the Foresters haven't at least scored a run. They're getting 1 hit today, but so many free passes via the walk. 7 to be exact. And the fact that the pitchers in Hammond and Marcotte have been able to get out of it is rather impressive.
It is extremely impressive. First hit, or the only hit I should say of the day, came in the first inning, the third batter of the day. 1-2. No square there, and it is a ball low and away. Marcotte in his first inning of work, 3 straight walks. They're recording 2 very, very quick outs. A walk to Mumau, a walk to Clark, and a walk to Chamberlain, and then was able to get some really weak contact from far and make the third out of the inning, but not really something you want to do. You don't want to give up 3 straight walks ever. Strike 3 looking. Down goes Caden Miller. First time today he's gone down on strikes.
Black and white, clear as crystal. He gets nothing.
Miller caught looking, and this was a perfectly executed fastball in the outer half. Freezes up the first baseman, Miller, painting the black.
2733 gets the hot sauce. The batter gets nothing, you get the hot sauce.
Pinch hitter now for Caleb Hoover. It's going to be Brady Dallimore, the Vegas native, and Horned Frog at TCU as he watches that first pitch in the dirt.
Dallimore went 1 for 4 in Sunday's game against the Blues. Had a single in the 4th inning, a strikeout, and a couple pop-outs to Don Jordan and right.
1-0 pitch is a fastball that misses. 2-0. Caleb Hoover, a dangerous hitter, but has yet to record a hit against the Blues this summer, and that'll continue at least into tomorrow's game, as that one is sliced foul.
Hoover's day is done after a couple of ABs. A fly ball to left center, which was struck pretty well and would have found some real estate had it been most other center fielders that aren't named E.J. Royal.
I forgot to mention this earlier as we were talking about it, as the 2-1 misses up and away, but the Blues don't specifically work on tracking down fly balls in the gaps like you might see other teams do, but E.J. Royal purposefully is in the third group for batting practice so that he can go out there during the first 2 groups and just work on catching fly balls. That one is fouled to the Blues dugout, and it might sound so easy, but like Nate mentioned earlier, it's not. He's running 50, 60 feet to track down balls, and not to mention these are well hit balls because it's batting practice. It's in terms for these guys, it's being lobbed in there, and they can just take big hacks at it. And Royal is just tracking down balls. Him and Andrew Raymond have actually become 2 guys who just do it together out there in center. Here's the full count pitch. Swung on and chopped to Ardois. He'll charge it. Played on 2 hops. His throw on the run is on time. Beautiful play from the Ragin' Cajun to sit down Dallimore.
That was a good play, and it's always exciting to see what kind of throw, what kind of play Ardois is going to make coming in, charging on a ground ball. How smooth is it going to look? That time, as silk.
Spice is silky smooth. over at shortstop. Now it's the shortstop for the Foresters, Coleman Ryan. So he watches ball one low and in. He is also making his Foresters debut. And he's a guy Nate and I were not able to find a lot of highlights at the plate for, but an absolute menace with the glove.
We talk about Diego Murillo at second base and Ardois at shortstop, the kind of plays they make. Ryan is, times 3.
Thank you. Kidding. Talking about Coleman Ryan. Much better at baseball than I am. Is that one misses inside 3-0.
That goes without saying, I think.
And you know what I could tell you for sure is that I would have the same average in the CCL as he does, because right now he's 0 for 2. We would both bat 0, 0, 0, 0, all zeros across the board. Here's the 3-0, ball 4. That I could not do. I could not draw a walk.
You could.
I think you're giving me too much credit. Maybe if I just did not swing the bat and the pitcher could not find the strike
That's why
zone.
I think you could. You know what he wasn't? He was not all league in basketball.
That is true. That is very, very true. Actually, do we know that?
We know that.
Okay.
We know that.
He was a football guy too,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
There's a pinch hitter on the
Another pinch hitter.
batter's box for
It's
the Foresters.
Addison
Number 3,
Kelpsch.
Addison
Klepsch, excuse me.
Klepsch now.
San Diego native.
That's right.
Right around Nate's hometown.
And a short leash here for Bill Pintard. If guys are producing in spots he wants them to, you get the hook.
Very traditional for Pintard, as Owen is a called strike to Klepsch.
When you're playing a game like this one against the San Luis Obispo Blues, a rival, a storied rivalry, you want to try to do everything you can to get a W for pride.
Changeup misses away.
Klepsch, an Auburn Tiger, too. He's entering his second year with the Tigers.
There's a 1-1. Swung on in. Foul. Down the first baseline. Mandino's day is done. He flies out twice to Hart, both opposite field fly balls, and walked in the second. Foresters now making their 4th time through the order. Swinging and missing for strike 3 is Klepsch to retire the side. A 2-out walk, but to no avail for the Santa Barbara Foresters. As I remind you that this half inning is brought to you by SLO County Golf. 9-1-2 for the San Luis Obispo Blues. It's former player of the week, Diego Murillo, to lead it off. And here's maybe why he got that player of the week against the Foresters on Sunday. 1 for 4, and a 2 RBI single that capped off the Blues win. They were already up 3-2 at that point, but some insurance runs against a team that can very easily score a run or two in an inning. Going into the bottom of the ninth with a 3-run lead, sounded a lot better, and Murillo helped there.
There's some comfort runs there for San Luis Obispo.
Good frame job there on the slider, but it just floats above the zone for ball 1. Stevens back out there for his second inning of work. Gave up a hit and struck out 2 in his first inning. Here's the 1-1. Called strike right around the knees.
That's a good pitch on that slider right there. Just kind of buckling up Diego Murillo. Kind of a horizontal break action on that slider. Doesn't sweep as much. Almost like a curveball.
That curveball is nubbed just out in front of home plate, and it's a foul ball.
Yeah, off the front foot of Diego Murillo, it looks like. Third base umpire came in crashing, timeout called immediately.
And Murillo knew that he was going to beat that out, which is why he wasn't like, oh no, it hit my foot and stayed in the box. That's why he dropped the bat and got down the line quickly. But Murillo appears to be telling his manager that it did not hit him.
Well, now Dean Traynor is going to have a conversation with the home plate umpire about it. All the whole staff is out there.
Promotional concepts, Passerol's Roll-Off Incorporated.
And to me, I think it clearly did hit his front foot because it wouldn't have been deadened that much if it didn't hit the front foot.
All sponsors of Blues
They're going to talk about it, though.
This could be an all-time sell job. This could be plus field.
The home plate umpire didn't initially call it a foul ball, and you would think that he might have the best view. The third base umpire called in, as they mentioned, crashed in hard with his hands up. The only thing the third base umpire might have been able to see better than the home plate umpire is if the ball was headed in foul territory and bounced and then hit off the leg, and it's going to be ruled a foul ball. So Murillo will come back in a 1-2 count and have to do it again against Stevens.
A tough 2 right now for Diego Murillo. Just got to shorten up on that axe-handled baseball bat and get going. Murillo 4 strikeouts in the summer. Compare that to his 5 walks.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on and weird swing, but it's hit softly right at the second baseman. He will throw on the run. Did he keep the foot on? Yes, he did. Miller able to stretch out and make the play for the first out of the inning.
And Murillo still able to get some contact that time. Even though that swing was about 75%, he still barreled it for what it's worth. Not a hard hit, but found a barrel underneath the glove of Stevens. Just not hard enough for Farr to make an easy throw to first.
Reminder that this half inning is brought to you by SLO County Golf. They offer 3 incredible courses in SLO, Morro Bay, and Atascadero. A unique combination of beautiful scenery and affordable prices. Book your next tee time at slocountygolf.com. First pitch fastball misses low. To the leadoff batter, E.J. Royal, who has recorded a hit in 7 of the last 8 games, scored a run and struck out twice today. And misses away. 2-0.
That's something I'm noticing about EJ this summer, too. The strikeout numbers rising just a little bit. 12 Ks on the year compared to 13 walks. Still gets the base on balls at a good rate, but it's a little more even than what we're used to.
Here's the 2-0. And we saw this last summer, too, where he was, just making contact with the ball. It seemed like every single time he was coming up to the plate, and then he started swinging for a little more power, and he started striking out a little bit more. And I think we're getting to that point, as that one is a called strike. I feel like maybe EJ's whole demeanor is get my feet under me, just get some base hits, some doubles. And then after that, let's start swinging hard. Here's the 3-1. swinging hard and ripping it down the left field line is E.J. Royal. That's going to be extra bases. Number 50 rounds first and heads for second. A stand-up double for the hometown kid.
Yeah, this one was laced. 98 miles an hour down the left field line. He two-hopped the wall, head high for most of the flight path to the fence. And EJ, we're just talking about how free swinging he is this summer. That just kind of proves it right there as manager Bill Pintard heads to the rubber.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
He's going to make a move to the bullpen after the one-out double from E.J. Royal. I'll tell you all about the new pitcher, and he will be facing Sam Ardois after this on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher is a right-hander, J.D. Goodcase, out of San Diego, originally from Camarillo, California, and St. Bonaventure Catholic High School. 6'3", 185-pound rising junior, has spent the last 2 seasons with USD. As first pitch to Ardois is a called strike. Royal stands on second after a one-out double that took Stevens out of the game. He steals for third. The throw is wide and caught by the third baseman, Mumau, but Royal will have his second stolen base of the day, both of which have been to third base.
Royal gambling over at second base. He feels confident, though, against J.D. Goodcase, a brand new pitcher in this ball game. He timed him up perfectly, darting towards third.
Catcher calls time so that the infield can come in. Down 6 runs, the Foresters definitely don't want to give up another run. Ardois is behind in an 0-2 count. He watches that one away for ball 1. 1-2 to the shortstop. Batting second in today's game, just like he did last time the Blues played the Foresters. He swings and fouls that one up and out of play.
Two of the hottest hitters for the Blues, Ardois and Murillo, ironically, have not gotten involved in the hit party. They're the only two batters to not record a hit today for the Blues. The Blues have 9 hits.
The only two batters in their game against the Foresters is that one misses high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The only two batters against the Foresters to record RBIs. Neither of them have a hit in today's game, where the Blues have scored 6 runs and recorded 6 RBIs. Infield still in. Ardois swings and misses. Strike 3 swinging to Ardois. First time he's gone down on strikes today.
Well, the strikeout numbers racking up. And again, it's so funny, the score of this game, 6-0 Blues. It's weird to say that when you look at our scorecards. The Blues are throwing walks, and they're striking out a bunch. Yet it's a 6-0 game.
Jordan is back in the box. He's 1 for 3. He half swings the appeal. He did not go. No swing, says the first base umpire. Jordan gets himself in a 1-0 count. He's scored twice. Once was on a fielder's choice. The other was after he recorded an RBI double in the second. And they struck out looking in the fourth. Swings and ropes that one down the third baseline for a base hit. Royal will score with these as Jordan rounds first and heads for second. The second extra base hit of the inning for the Blues. An RBI double for the hit leader on the team.
Royal smoked this down the left field line, just hugging that chalk. Royal scores easily. I mean, he could have walked home. Or he could have done a dance move coming home. Don Jordan coming in clutch again.
I think Royal did walk home, to be fully honest. Once he saw that ball get past the third baseman, he knew that it had extra bases written all over it. Jordan, his second extra base hit of the game, and Nate and I have talked a couple of times on today's broadcast, but a lot this season about the extra base hit numbers and how you want to be above 3 in a game. That was number 4. Big swing and a miss by Tollerman for strike 1.
Yeah, perfect. That extended it into a 7-0 game. And how about 2 extra base hits in 1 inning for the Blues? We don't see that often, if ever.
First time they've done that tonight. Their other 2 extra base hits, 1 in the first, 1 in the second, now 2 in the 6th. Tollerman watches a slider. Quickly is behind 0-2.
Last time the Blues recorded 2 extra base hits in 1 inning, ironically, the Academy Barons.
A 20-4 loss. Strike 3 looking. Good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Zach Tollerman as he goes down on 3 pitches to end the inning. But the Blues extend the lead. It is 7-0 San Luis Obispo on a lovely Tuesday evening. So I'll send it back to my partner and my pal, Nate Mills, for the rest of the game.
2, 3, 4 due up for the Santa Barbara Foresters. New pitcher for the Blues. It's Omar Reynoso. The left-hander Riley Marcotte's day is done. 2 innings of work. No hits, no runs. 4 walks and 2 strikeouts. Had some issues finding the zone, but would get out of the jam. Had 3 walks in a row in the 5th inning, and they got stranded on a comebacker right to the pitcher, Riley Marcotte. So it's Terrence Kill. After that, it's Easton Muma and Brenton Clark. Blues up 6-0. Check that, 7-0 in the 7th inning. Kill his first pitch swinging. He pops it up on the right side. Tallman ranges in foul ground and can't make the catch. Trying to go for the basket grab over in foul ground at first base. Instead of strike 1 to Terrence Kill, a new life for the center fielder batting second, who was hitless today. Unassisted put out by Comerford at third. A ground ball out to the second baseman Murillo, and hit by pitch in the first. He was stranded at third in a bases-loaded jam.
That would have been a really good play from Tollerman. I mean, he ended up closer to the right field foul pole than he did first base. That would have been a really, really tough play to make. Good effort.
And he's made those plays in foul ground before, specifically with the basket catch in a Blues uniform, and I thought we'd see another highlight from him here. Kill swings and misses for strike 2. Terrence Kill has struck out 4 times to his 1 walk this summer. The Texas A&M Aggie digging in with his team trailing by 7, getting shut out against the Blues in game 1 of 5 of a homestand for San Luis Obispo. The hesitation, and the pitch misses high, 1-2 from Reynoso. So Reynoso comes in to replace Riley Marcotte, another left-hander for Dean Traynor and his squad. Against a left-handed heavy lineup for Bill Pintard and his Foresters. 1-2. And Kill, easy take, way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Terrence Kill digging back in the right-handed batter's box. Foresters just looking for something to get going against the Blues, and they're slowly running out of time in the final third of this ball game. The pitch, 2-2, is hit off the hands and sent out of play. Again, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Terrence Kill.
Our free foul ball sponsor tonight, SLO Safe Ride. Let you take that one home.
Terrence Kill amidst a battle against Omar Reynoso. The leadoff man here in the 7th inning. Marcotte's last inning, 2 quick outs, 1 on a strikeout looking, a walk to Coleman, and then capped it off with an Addison Klepp strikeout swinging. That was in the 6th inning. Reynoso on the 2-2, and Kill sends it straight back. Again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sinsheimer hollowing out as the fog rolls into the Central Coast Valley. Temperatures drop rapidly. It was a 64-degree first pitch, and we're at 58 degrees right now. I honestly have never seen a place drop so quickly in temperature when the sun goes down. The 2-2. Kill pops it up off the hands. It might be playable for the catcher Andrews, who takes off the mask, and in front of the fencing makes the grab. Snow cone grab for Cam Andrews, and there's 1 gone in the 7th.
Man, that is just such a tough and remarkable play from Cam Andrews. It's so hard as a catcher. A, you don't field a lot of pop-ups. And B, you have to get out of the squat, rip the mask off, find it in the air, and then try to get under it. He almost overran that one, but realized he was a step too far, stopped on a dime, reached back, and was able to make the grab.
I think about the time of night, too, right? The twilight sky, baseball blending in right with the background. It was hit above the lights. That adds an extra level of difficulty for Andrews. Such a valuable backstop for the Blues. So here's Easton Muma. Muma takes high and tight for ball 1. Easton today is 1 for 2, a single in the first. That is the only Foresters hit this afternoon. A team that averages 9 runs per game and has an .823 team OPS, which leads the CCL, is getting shut out against the Blues as we are now here in the top of the 7th. As Reynoso doesn't miss by much, low and outside, 2-0. Muma had a great year this past season with the Vaqueros. Earned him first-team All-Southland selection, first-team All-Defense. A .332 batting average, 72 hits, 3 homers, and 49 runs driven in those 72 hits. Here's the 2-0. And Mumma takes outside, 3 balls and no strikes from Reynoso. 11 doubles as well in those 72 hits, a .424 slugging. 32 walks to his 28 strikeouts. He's kept that same energy this summer, Mumma has. 9 walks to his 3 Ks before today's game. 3-0, he takes all the way, and it's a called strike. And he's only added to that walk number, walk rate, with a couple of walks today. Or 1 walk today in the 5th. The left-hander in the middle of the left-handed batter's box. Awaits the 3-1 from Reynoso, the pitch. And an off-speed that misses above the zone, and a 1-out walk to Mumma. There's his 2nd walk of the day.
Mumma has been the most successful hitter in this lineup today, reaching base safely now 3 times. No other batter for the Foresters have done that in today's game.
Which is crazy. Andrews and his left-hander Reynoso exchange a word as Andrews walks Reynoso back to the mound. Brenton Clark will be the hitter for the Foresters after this conversation between the battery. Clark with a pair of walks today and a fly out to center field. Redshirted his first season at the University of Arkansas, but before that was the 5th ranked outfielder in the state of Texas by perfect game. Prep Baseball Report also had him in the top 10 of outfielders in the state. Left-handed hitter is 14 of 35 heading into today's game. Runner on first base, it's Mumma. Reynoso strides and shoots. And the first pitch is a called strike on the outer half, 0-1. Here's another walk to strikeout ratio that is on the positive side for the Foresters. 13 walks to 2 strikeouts before today's game for Clark. That's now moved to 15-2. The 0-1 shows bunt, pulls it back. It's taken for a ball outside. Evens the count at 1-1 to Clark.
I mentioned this is last at bat, but not your stereotypical build for a cleanup hitter in terms of, the walk numbers and the slugging numbers. Not to say he doesn't slug, but he's just really good at getting on base.
The 1-1. And Clark will take a called strike. We've talked about it before, but challenging what we know as a cleanup hitter. Ryan and I have talked about before that it's easy to fall into the trap of, well, he doesn't look like a 4-hitter.
He's built like a 4-hitter. He's very compact. He can slug. He's just way better at getting on base.
Pitch misses inside. It almost hits Clark, 2-2.
But the game of baseball is just ever changing. Nate and I were talking about this last homestand on the broadcast about how we think the most valuable position in the lineup is the 2-hitter. Hypothetically, that's where if Nate and I were making a lineup, that's where we would put our best hitter, is in the 2-hole.
The Blues are doing that with Sam Ardois at the 2 spot. Here's the 2-2. Bouncing ball on the left side. Third baseman Comerford goes to second. Gets the force there. Murillo actually drops the baseball. Murillo, it was 50-50, either on the transfer or he just dropped it. And I think they're just going to chalk it up as an error to Diego Murillo at second.
Wow, that really looked like it was on the transfer to me. It looked like he tried to go into the mitt to pull it out, and it fell and hit the ground. But I call him safe and no challenge from Dean Traynor, so I guess it'll just be an error on Murillo, their first error of the game.
Now the Blues had 1 error last game against the Foresters, and the last time they had 1 error before that was June 18th against the Sonoma Stompers. Fastball in there for strike 1 against Cole Chamberlain, who's 0 for 2 today. A strikeout looking and a walk in the 5th, a part of a strand of 3 in a row in that inning. They were all stranded on base. Riley Marcotte got out of the jam. Runners on first and second now for the Sturs. Look at second now, too. No one holding on. Mumma, as this one's sent into play into right field. It falls in front of Jordan for a base hit. Here comes Mumma around third. The throw's a laser to the plate. and it misses. Cam Andrews misses the tag on a dart from Don Jordan in right field. Foresters get their first run of the game.
Don Jordan wanted to put that one on the highlight reel. I mean, he still might. That was a absolute laser. First hit that the Blues have allowed since the first inning brings in a run.
An RBI single for Cole Chamberlain, and Chamberlain advanced to second on the throw. So now 2 in scoring position for Sawyer Farr. And it looks like it'll be a pinch hitter, Easton Ruley, coming in for Sawyer Farr. Ruley also came in on Sunday against San Luis Obispo. He pinch hit for Easton Muma and recorded a single late in the game. That was in the 8th. Runners on second and third, and the pitch misses inside. Andrews bats it in front. 1 ball, no strikes from Reynoso.
First piece of loud contact that the Blues have given up all game long. You got to be happy if you're the Blues pitching staff to keep them at bay and not allow them to score until the top of the 7th. But now you just got to make sure they don't get too close for comfort.
Still up 7-1 against the Foresters. Top of the 7th inning at Sinsheimer Stadium. Pitch kicks away from Andrews, and another run comes in to score. Chamberlain throws on the brakes at third. A 2-run inning for the Foresters.
That's where you could really get in trouble. A walk, a wild pitch. That's the walks are starting to haunt you now. They didn't in the first 6 innings, but now 2 runs from the Foresters.
Blues still out of slam range against Santa Barbara, with Cole Chamberlain standing at third and Easton Ruley pinch hitting for Sawyer Farr, who ends his day 0 for 3, a strikeout swinging and a couple of comeback or ground balls to the pitcher. The 1-0. And there's a fastball in the other half, strike 1 for Reynoso. One right-hander getting loose in the pen for the Blues at Sean York. 1-1 with 1 out. Foresters have scored 2 runs in this inning off a wild pitch and an RBI single from Chamberlain. The pitch. And a nice-looking changeup and a called strike, 1-2.
Pulled the string hard on that one.
Reynoso ahead against Easton Ruley. Caden Miller standing on deck. He's hitless with a couple of walks. He nods. Here's the 2-2. Change up, and it's popped up and out of play. Foul. Ruley behind on Reynoso as he walks back in the right-handed batter's box. Easton Ruley has driven in 14 runs this summer, playing in his 12th game of the year. 7 for 35 before this at-bat. The 2-2. Fastball dribbled on the third base side. It kicks off the foot of Comerford and it rolls into left field. And a single for Easton Ruley drives in Cole Chamberlain, and it's now a 7-3 ball game here in the 7th.
It's getting really, really dangerous. You're now in slam range. You got to get the bases loaded and hit a grand slam, but you want to keep the Foresters at bay as much as possible. They are a team that averages 9 runs a game, and they've already scored 3 in this inning.
Dean Trainer trying to hit reset here. The manager for the Blues coming out to talk to his southpaw, Omar Reynoso. It will be Caden Miller swinging against the southpaw, Omar. Left-handed hitting first baseman. Couple of walks today, stole second in the 4th and struck out looking in the 6th. Trying to make it hurt that much more against the Blues here. But honestly, I think more than anything, Caden Miller just wants to get on and just clog the base paths for the Foresters to really get eaten.
And yeah, they're in a kind of a weird situation. You got 1 on with 1 out, where you just had multiple at-bats with runners in scoring position. So, you know, if at least Caden Miller would love to move that runner into scoring position and give his team a chance to grab another run in this inning. But yeah, obviously would love to clog up the pass and make the job even harder for Omar Reynoso.
Caden Miller is a 2025 American Athletic Conference all-freshman team selection after his true freshman season at University of Texas San Antonio with the Roadrunners, who made it to a super regional against UCLA. Runner takes off to third, lefty move from Reynoso, throw over to second base, Artois picks it and he's out. Easton Rulli caught stealing a lefty move from Reynoso, got him.
That is a huge out for the Blues. Now they're empty with 2 outs. You can get out of this inning with just giving up the 3 runs, and you can go into the dugout and try to extend your lead some more, but there's a huge out there to empty the bases.
Bases clear, 2 gone. And the pitch is sent straight back from Caden Miller. Seven to 3 Blues. Foresters in the midst of a 3-run 7 inning off a couple of RBI singles and a wild pitch. With an open stance, Miller awaits Reynoso. The 0-1. And the slider floats on the outer half for strike 2. Miller trying to be tough with 2. He struck out 50 times this past season at UT San Antonio. Reynoso comes set. Royal to center fielder hops. The 0-2. Sweeper chased, and it's dribbled back. 0-2 again. Miller, while he did strike out 50 times, was hit 20 times in 189 at-bats.
So had 41 walks, so.
The 0-2. Slider, and it's cued, slowly spinning down the third base line, and I can't believe this stayed fair. Caden Miller, a swinging bunt, and it stays just inside the chalk. The most frustrating infield base hit you'll ever see.
Yeah, that had so much spin on it that kept it fair, and Cam Andrews behind the dish just got stuck in the turfus and was unable to get to that ball. The hardest hit ball of the day.
And it's Brady Dallimore now. Dallimore committed to Texas Christian. About to enter his true freshman season. And the first pitch is strike 1. Reynoso from the stretch with a runner on first base. The 0-1. Dallimore takes low. The runner takes off to second. Andrews tries to dance around Dallimore to get the throw down, but he'll just hold on to it. A stolen bag for Caden Miller.
They got a runner in scoring position, another opportunity for the Foresters to score. Mentioned multiple times, would love to keep it at a 4-run lead.
Sean York still getting hot in the pen as Reynoso checks second with no one holding on the runner in Miller. Pitch misses low and inside. Andrews comes to a knee. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dallimore.
You'd also love to get out of this inning right here. You don't want to walk a batter. Give him an opportunity to make it a 1-run ball game with 1 swing.
Dallimore was Prep Baseball Report's National Player of the Month in April as a senior in high school. From Palo Verde High, the 2-1. Swings and misses for strike 2. The Vegas native trying to be tough with 2 against Reynoso. Caden Miller at second base. Foresters trail by 4 to the Blues. Reynoso rocks and comes set. Strides and shoots. Slider, swung on and missed. Strike 3. Reynoso's got some words for the dugout. The Blues still ahead 7-3. We head to the bottom half of the inning. It's time to stretch at Sinsheimer and the SLO Blues streaming network.
37. He's not on the roster.
New
Not on
pitcher
the roster.
for the Santa Barbara Foresters. We'll get you that information as soon as possible. Number 37, the big, tall right-hander facing the Blues here. 5-6-7, middle of the order, due up for San Luis Obispo. Logan Hart, Brendan Comerford, and Gavin Smith. Top of the 7th inning, the Foresters finally collected their first base hit in 6 innings. They had a single from Easton Muma on the first and went radio silent after that, all up until the 7th against Omar Reynoso. 3 singles in a row, 2 of them producing a run. It's now a 7-3 ball game. The Foresters are back in slam range against the Blues. Here's Logan Hart, who was 1 for 2 today with an RBI single himself. First pitch is a called strike, 0-1 to Hart. The left fielder batting 5th is the only left-handed batter tonight for San Luis Obispo. Along with his 1 for 2 day, he also walked in the second as well. Easton O'Neill is the pitcher for the Foresters. 0-1 is high and tight to Hart, and he'll take it for ball 1. O'Neill is a Husky from the University of Washington and a native from Spokane, Washington. 6'1", 205-pound right-hander. (1-1), and it buckles up Hart for strike 2. Hart, the Titan from Cal State Fullerton, digging in the 2 strike counts. O'Neill comes set, now strides and shoot the pitch. And Hart will foul it straight back. We'll do it again at a ball and 2 strikes. O'Neill this past season with the Huskies is a two-way guy. Here's Hart now. The 1-2. And Hart goes down swinging for strike 3. Leadoff strikeout for Logan Hart here in the 7th inning.
Here's number 2, Brendan Comerford for the Blues.
Brendan Comerford now the team leader in RBIs. Had a 2 RBI double back in the first inning. He is 1 for 3 today. He puts this one down in front of the pitcher O'Neill, who throws it over to first, just not in time to get Comerford. And wow, I thought they had Comerford out by a step, and they call him safe at first base.
He looked out to me too, but the first baseman is signaling for a challenge. Sorry, man, we don't have that in the CCL.
Yeah, not quite yet. We're just going to move on here. Comerford reaches safely. A bunt that got down from Comerford. He's 2 hits on the day today. So Comerford stands at first base, and it's Gavin Smith, who has got a pair of knocks himself. 2 singles today, one of them producing a run back in the first inning. Pitch misses high and out to Smith for ball 1. Meeting between the battery and Chamberlain and O'Neill. O'Neill, we got better information. Not Ethan O'Neill from the University of Nevada, Reno. Went to UNLV, went to College of Southern Nevada, went to Liberty High School. Not in the Central Valley of California, in Bakersfield, but Henderson, Nevada, where he was born and raised. Was all Mountain West second team in 2024. And last season with the Wolfpack had a 5.34 earned run average in 22 appearances, 28 2/3 innings pitched, 39 strikeouts to just 17 walks. Comerford at first. The 1-0 to Smith is sent over the Blues dugout for strike 1.
Henderson, his hometown, is just about a 20-minute drive to UNLV, where he previously played. Now up in Reno. Much further drive from his hometown.
Stay in the Silver State of Nevada as he comes set here with Comerford dangling his right arm at first. 1-1. Smith takes it low and outside, smothered by Chamberlain. 2 balls and 1 strike. Blues trying to tack on some insurance after a 3 spot in the top of the 7th inning. 7-3 ball game. It's Gavin Smith at the dish. A 2-hit day for Smith. O'Neill comes set from the stretch as the third baseman Muma comes in on the infield grass. The pitch, and Smith leaves it high and outside. 3 balls and a strike now to the Harvard Crimson man, Smith. Cam Andrews stands on deck for the Blues. O'Neill strikes and shoots, and Smith chases the high fastball for strike 2. A full count now to Gavin Smith.
Smith got exactly the pitch he wanted, a high fastball right around the letters. Just missed it.
Having to be smart, and a full count now against O'Neill. When jetting out to left field, here's the payoff. Smith pops it up the opposite way. Right fielder Clark comes in, and it drops in front of him, a base hit. Clark loses the baseball in the sky. Back-to-back singles for the Blues, and some of the most unorthodox ways you'll ever see. Runners at first and second.
And the Blues got lucky because it was a hit and run, and Comerford was off, and he had no idea that that ball was hit in the air. He was head down running for second, and if that ball was caught, it was going to be an easy double play and end the 7th inning.
2 hits in a row for the Blues, and the 3rd hit of the night for Gavin Smith as the manager, Bill Pintard, comes out to talk to his right-hander, O'Neill. It's not the pitching coach, Scott Murray, as Pintard looks like he'll be exchanging O'Neill. A clap heading to the mound. And there is a right-hander getting loose in the pen, but there isn't much urgency from him there. Typically when you see the manager come up to the mound and he does that little clap to talk to the pitcher, that usually entails that they're going to leave. But he did the clap, and I think O'Neill's going to stay out there. A long discussion at the rubber as the home plate umpire comes to break it up. The meeting disperses. Pintard heads back to the dugout, and Cam Andrews is ready to go. Andrews, the right-handed hitting catcher, has had a night behind the dish. Great defensive showing once again for the uncommitted backstop for the Blues. He's got runners on first and second here. Comerford with a single, and Smith with one himself. First pitch, and Smith hits it off the hands and out of play, strike 1.
What I love a lot about this game so far from the Blues is that they've only walked once or twice, and they've been able to score 7 runs, which means they're just hitting the ball a lot, which is something we honestly have not seen a lot from the Blues. I mean, this is the most runs that they've put up in at least a week.
0-1. And Andrews chases the high 4-seamer for strike 2.
Last time they put up 7 runs was against the Sonoma Stompers in a game that went 12 innings, a 7-6 victory on June 17th, so a week from today.
A much-needed offensive revival tonight for the Blues. A look at second. Now the 0-2. Andrews dodges a pitch high and tight for ball 1. Andrews before today's game has driven in 3 runs, made it number 4 in the first inning with an RBI single. 5 hits on the year. That single made it 6. Andrews leaves high, evens it up at 2-2. Diego Murillo stands on deck. The only other Blues batter hitless today besides Sam Ardois. O'Neill comes set. The 2-2. And Smith leaves outside, backhanded by Chamberlain. Back pick over to second. The throw almost went to center, but Ryan was there to recover it.
Love the idea from Chamberlain, and a good backup by Ryan.
Don't flatter yourself. Gavin Smith at first and Brennan Comerford at second. The 3-2, both runners go. Pitch misses high and inside, but it won't matter. Ball four to Cam Andrews. That will load the bases for Diego Murillo. And a pretty big moment here for Murillo to give the Blues some extra cushion against the Foresters. Yes, you're up by 4 against Santa Barbara. You talk about slam range. This is a team that can slam it at any time.
Yeah, and they're in slam range right now. A grand slam ties up the game. Oh, much needed extra run or 2 or even more would be huge for the Blues.
Blues with 12 hits on the evening, Foresters with 4. First pitch, and Murillo check swings straight back into the screen for strike 1.
All 3 base runners, Comerford, Smith, and Andrews, smart base runners, but none of them with exceptional speed.
Bases bloated with Blues on the 0-1 with 1 out. The pitch. Murillo pops it up the opposite way and out of the stadium for strike 2. The leadoff man, E.J. Royal, stands on deck. He's 2 for 4 with a double and a single and a pair of strikeouts today. Just 1 out in the inning. Murillo trying to keep it in the air and avoid a ground ball double play that would end the frame and send us into the 8th. The 0-2, and Murillo goes down swinging for strike 3. Murillo 0 for 4 today. We'll flip it to the top of the order in E.J. Royal.
I got to say, that is the 3rd time that the Blues have had a runner on third with 1 out, and they have struck an out. Those are prime opportunities to hit a sacrifice fly. It happened in the 6th. Ardois struck out after Royal stole third. Happened as well in the 2nd inning. And now here in the 7th inning.
EJ takes the first pitch on the other half for strike 1. That makes the job a little bit more harder for the leadoff man, Royal. But he hasn't had a difficult time finding real estate today. A double and a single with a couple of strikeouts. Gotten a hit in 7 of his last 8 games. He's here with the bases loaded. Royal takes low and inside. It kicks away from Chamberlain, but he keeps it in front. And they'll call it a strike to Royal, 0-2. Sam Ardois stands on deck, hitless today. EJ 2 for 4. Royal entered today's game with 12 RBIs, and that's where he sits. 26 hits on the summer, 3 doubles, and 1 home run. The 0-2, and Royal takes way outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
If you want any hitter for the Blues in an 0-2 count, it's E.J. Royal. He's very good at, still being patient, changing his approach, and being ready to swing at a pitch and hit it hard when it's left out over the plate, but also can take a pitch.
With his new adjustments, he's free swinging. 1-2, skips in the dirt, kicks away from Chamberlain, but again, keeps it within a reasonable distance. All the runners hang out at their bases. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Royal. Deuces wild with 2 outs, bases loaded, Blues up by 4. 7-3 ball game. And the bottom half of the 7th inning, the leadoff man, E.J. Royal, up to the dish. Comerford at third, Smith at second, and Andrews at first. From the stretch, here's Ethan O'Neill. The pitch. Royal takes high and outside. And 3 balls and 2 strikes to E.J. And as you said, Ryan, no one you'd rather have in a 2-strike situation. Royal has worked it into a 3-2 count.
Now you have a prime opportunity. Ball 4 gets you a run. All the runners are going, so a base hit will give you 2. Gapper might give you 3.
The payoff. Royal hits it off the hands, and it's a high blooper and foul ground. The first baseman, Miller, makes the grab, and there will be no runs to come in to score for the Blues. San Luis Obispo strands the bases loaded as we head into the 8th inning. Blues up by 4, 7-3 over the Foresters on Slow Blues Streaming Network.
Sponsored by
New pitcher for the SLO Blues. It's a right-hander from Riverside City College, Sean York. Omar Reynoso's day is done. After just an inning of work, he allowed 3 hits, 3 runs, only 2 of them earned, a walk and a strikeout. So now it's the righty, the Tiger, making his 6th appearance in a Blues uniform this summer. In 7 1/3 innings of work, has hurled 9 strikeouts and 6 walks, has just allowed 1 earned run this summer for the Blues, and he's here to close the door against the Santa Barbara Foresters. Blues looking to go 2-0 against the Sturs about halfway through in this summer season.
Foresters got 3 in the last inning, but the Blues might have cooled him off a little bit. A couple of singles and a walk that made the inning nice and long. Kept the bats away and 6 outs away from a win.
Here's the first pitch to Coleman Ryan, and it's an off-speed, a called strike, 0-1. Ryan hitless today, lined out to left, grounded to the third baseman Comerford, and walked in the 6th. The righty Ryan squats in his right-handed stance and ready to go against York. The 0-1. Pitch misses inside, even count, 1 ball and 1 strike to Coleman Ryan. A Texas Tech Red Raider. Spent his past season of college baseball in the Big 12 playing for Tech. A native from Tomball, Texas, 1-1. Swing and a miss on a high fastball for strike 2. Coleman Ryan making his summer debut for the Foresters tonight. Digs back in at a 2-strike count against York. Uncommitted right-hander from Riverside City. Here's the 1-2. Slider weakly popped up to the second baseman Murillo, who saunters to his left and makes the grab. Off the end of the bat, Ryan a defensive swing and popped it over to the second baseman for the first out. And now we'll flip it to the top of the order. Addison Klepsch. Klepsch came in to replace Maddox Mendino back in the 6th inning. Mendino's day, he went 2 fly ball outs to left field and a walk. Bill Pintard had enough. Klepsch came in and struck out swinging in the 6th. Addison, his first pitch swinging, and he went around for strike 1. Klepsch, an Auburn Tiger, a native of San Diego, California, and a graduate of Del Norte High School. The Nighthawks. 0-1. Klepsch rolls inside of a slider, but it's taken down the heart of the plate for strike 2. Now 5'10", 185-pound rising sophomore with a widened stance and a 2-strike count. The pitch. Slider misses inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Sean York. First team All-Palomar League and the Palomar Player of the Year at Del Norte High. He was also 2023 California All-State Team, and he's tardy on a fastball, sending it back into the screen. We'll do it again at 1-2. Aside from that, was the number 6 shortstop in all of California, according to Perfect Game. 1-2. Klepsch takes strike 3, a slider. Down the heart of the plate, and Klepsch got fooled. 2 quick outs here for Sean York in the 8th.
Let's take a quick look around the CCL. 5 other games today. The Legends beat the Seagulls earlier today, 6-3. The Barons are taking on the Filipino baseball group in the top of the 9th. They're up 7-0. Oaks over Saints 4-1, top 9. And the Waves are over the Riptide 6-0 in the top of the 6, as well as Stompers and Crawdads finished a game earlier. No score reported so far for that game.
Pitch misses inside to Terrence Kill. And that Conejo-Arroyo Seco game is very intriguing because they're fighting for second place in the CCL South, which is essentially first place. Kill takes strike. 1-1 to Terrence Kill. That is because Santa Barbara will not play in the CCL postseason. And I think pretty much essentially the past handful of years they finished in first and they haven't gone to the CCL. That's a nice-looking slider and a buckles-up keel for strike 2.
Yeah, and it's ever more important this year for the South because the winner of the South gets to host the CCL Championship between the South and the North. The North hosted last year.
That's right. A 1-2. Kill takes outside, 2-2.
The Oaks were able to beat the Crawdads on the road to become victors of the CCL, the 2024 season. Prior to that, it was ran by the Prune Packers.
Sure was. They entered the Empire League after that, and it's still dominated. 2-2, and it hits the front leg of Kill. Second time Terrence Kill's been hit by a pitch today, and it comes with 2 outs in the 8th. Kill was hit by a pitch in the first, and then now here in the 8th inning, deja vu for the Texas A&M Aggie. So a runner on first now for Easton Mumma. Mumma 1 of 2. Single in the first, lined out to third, and a pair of walks. He came around to score in that 3-run 7th inning. Mumma with 49 RBIs this past season at UT Rio Grande Valley. Almost gets hit by a pitch inside. A yank fastball from York, 1-0.
Want to try to mitigate the damage now. You hit a batter with 2 outs, it's okay. Just get the next one and get out of this inning. Keep your 4-run lead into the 9th.
Average lead at first base for Terrence Kill, who led the Aggies in steals last year with 12. From the stretch, here's the 1-0 from York. Fastball clanks off the glove of Andrews, and it rolls to the backstop. Kill rounds second. Will he go to third? He'll hold up and retreat back to the base. A pass ball moves Terrence Kill to second base.
That's very unlike Cam Andrews, just maybe a quick lapse of effort there from Andrews, but I don't know if that's something I've ever seen from him, and I don't think I'll ever see it again.
He could have gotten crossed up as well. They might not be on the same page in terms of pitches, which in that case, wondering why Andrews isn't speaking to York right now. 2-0. Fastball inside. Andrews slides to his right. 3 straight balls to Easton Mumma, who has walked the last 2 plate appearances.
I feel like that's honestly pretty unlikely just because York is pretty much a 2-pitch guy. Fastball, slider. 1 is fastball, 2 is slider, right?
The 3-0. And the fastball right down Broadway taken for a strike as the Amtrak train passes through Sinsheimer Stadium and bids hello to these Blues fans. Peak at second, 3-1. Fastball just misses inside for ball 4. Sean York tried to paint the corner. It looked like he might have gotten it, but Mumma has walked the past 3 plate appearances of this game. Easton Mumma at first and Terrence Kill at second base. Here's Brenton Clark. Clark reached on a fielder's choice in the 7th, which also resulted in a Diego Murillo error at second base. Tying run standing on deck for the Foresters. First pitch, and it misses low to Clark, 1-0. Clark a pair of walks today, along with that fielder's choice, and a fly out to center field. He scored in the 7th in that 3-run inning. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss here for strike 1. Clark, a Razorback from Arkansas. A Lone Star State native, left-handed hitting redshirt freshman. 1-1. And he pumps and takes a strike here, 1-2. Fans bellow for their hot sauce with 2 outs, and boy, would Sean York like to give it to him. Top of the 8th inning at Sinsheimer Stadium. Blues up by 4 against the Foresters. Here's the pitch. And a slider that misses behind home plate. Andrews smothers it. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A really good 1-2 slider there. Had Clark to start his swing, but didn't go around, and now you got to find the strike zone and get out of this inning.
Runners on first and second, 2-2 count. The pitch. Fouled straight back. We'll do it again. 2 outs in the inning. York trying to get the bat back in his squad's hands.
Has that fastball timed up, sent straight back to the netting. Might want to go to a secondary pitch. Mainly slider is the secondary, but he also has a changeup that he occasionally throws.
York getting that pitch count up, and with that, Chase Rogers gets loose in the pen for the Blues. The 2-2. Slider swung on and missed. Strike 3. Foresters strand 2 runners on. They still trail by 4. York is hyped up We head into the bottom of the 8th inning, which is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union on the SLO Blue Streaming Network. Bottom of the 8th inning is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union. They have a convenient location in Paso Robles, and they can be found at myeecu.org. Experience smarter banking at Educational Employees Credit Union. Sam Artois' first pitch swinging against the new pitcher, Tag Andrews. He's a Razorback from the University of Arkansas. Tag standing in at 6 foot, 195 pounds, and he's a redshirt freshman at Arkansas. Ardois takes outside 1-1. The righty on the 1-1 count with the Blues up by 4. Swings and misses for strike 2. Andrews making his 3rd appearance for the Foresters this summer. And 1 1/3 innings pitch, he's allowed 3 hits and 3 earned runs. Ardois with an easy take on a pitch well outside, 1-1 to Sam. Check that, 2-2 to Sam Ardois. Don Jordan stands on deck. 2-3-4 due up in this inning for the Blues. The 2-2. Ardois goes down swinging on strikes. Second time today, Sam Ardois has struck out, and the Blues continue to rack up those Ks. 13 strikeouts on the night, and we're in the bottom of the 8th inning here at Sinsheimer Stadium. Don Jordan, a couple of doubles today. With an open stance in that righty batter's box. He awaits Andrews' offering. Laser into left field, and it leaks in for a base hit. Don Jordan with his 3rd hit of the day, solidifying that dog of the day spot.
Solidifying?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
Ryan.
I agree. Good, very good game. Come as an extra RBI. Brendan Comerford.
Okay.
Comerford 2 for 4. Don Jordan 3 for 5. Comerford hasn't got another at bat, which he might in this inning.
Don with 2 runs scored and 2 runs batted in.
It's true. Comerford has 3 runs batted in and a run scored. It's so close. I feel like it's closer than we're giving credit to.
Zach Tellerman takes strike 1.
Both, or not you specifically, but our statistician Charlie Coors immediately was like, "It has to be Don Jordan, right?" And I was like, "Hold on, let's give Comerford his flowers."
I will, as Tullerman chops it down the third baseline. They'll go to second to get Jordan out of first, and they turn the double play to get out of the inning. The discussion will continue in the top of the ninth as the Blues look to close it out against the Foresters and go 2-0 against Santa Barbara, middle of the season here in the CCL. We head into the frame, 7-3 Blues, SLO Blues Streaming Network. Top of the ninth inning at Sinsheimer Stadium. Last call for the Foresters as they trail 7-3 against the San Luis Obispo Blues. A 4-run deficit. 5-6-7 due up for Santa Barbara as Sean York looks to seal the deal on this thing. Chamberlain is 1 of 3 today with an RBI single in the 7th inning. First pitch to him, and Chamberlain takes a spiked fastball for ball 1. Aside from that RBI single in the 7th where Chamberlain came around to score, he walked, popped out to the third baseman Comerford, and struck out looking in the 1st. Here's the 1-0. Fastball sent straight back, and that's strike 1 to Chamberlain.
Rogers still getting loose for the Blues, just in case York gives up a couple of base runners. Might see Dean Traynor make a move to try to get the final 3.
Chamberlain, a Longhorn from the University of Texas against York, 1-1. Pitch almost hits him and misses inside. 2-1 now to Chamberlain, who is a sophomore standing at 6'2", 215 pounds. An .839 slugging his senior year of high school at San Marin High. 10 home runs, 3 triples, 7 doubles. Takes a pitch off the plate. A 50-50 call there from Sean York. But it goes down as a ball, 3-1 to Chamberlain. Lefty against the right-handed York on the 3-1. Fastball just misses off the plate outside, and a leadoff walk for the Foresters in the top of the 9th inning.
The last thing you want to give up, a leadoff walk to a team trailing by 4, just all the life that they need to try to make it happen.
And Easton Ruley came in for Sawyer Farm, and it will still be Easton Ruley. Ruley is 1 of 1 today. Drove in an RBI single in the 7th inning, coming right off the bench to replace Sawyer Farr. First pitch, and Ruley will take it low and inside for ball 1. Not missing by much, Sean York with these balls. But he continues to attack the zone against the Foresters with Caden Miller standing on deck. The 1-0 to Ruley, and he'll take it, a called strike. Ruley from Central Arizona College, one of the more storied junior college programs in the country. Finished up this past season with a .396 average and a .650 slugging. 1-1, he takes a slider, a called strike. 53 games played at Central Arizona. The infielder had 61 RBIs on 78 hits. 18 strikeouts to his 9 walks. A .448 on base with an average lead at first base. Here's the 1-2. Sweeper gets away from Andrews and the ball rolls away. A runner around second and he'll stay there. Cole Chamberlain in scoring position now for the Sturs on the wild pitch. So a 90-foot mistake by Sean York yanking that slider. And a 2-2 count to Easton Ruley. It also eliminates the double play, too. .30 extra base hits this past season at Central Arizona College. A peek at second, the 2-2. Fastball roped down the left field line. It will just be foul. And Ruley caught that one, but just hooking just left of the chalk.
A little off the hands, but still pulled it at 93 miles an hour down the line and not fouled by much, maybe 3 feet.
If that. Really a former Utah Ute. Now at Central Arizona. The 2-2. And Ruley gets hit by a pitch. Well, at least the double play is now in order. Dean Traynor heads out to the mound. Sean York's day might be over.
I would think it has to be. You have now the tying run on deck. You don't want to let him come to the plate. York has not looked his sharpest today. 2 hit batters, 2 walks in his 7 batters faced. It might be time to get a new arm out there, a fresh arm.
Dean Traynor usually makes a decision at this point. He's still talking to Sean York. As home plate umpire motioned towards the dugout, but I think he's asking for more baseballs, not alerting the new pitcher to come into the game. So I think Sean York's actually going to stay out there. York will face Caden Miller after hitting Easton Ruley. York's second hit batter of the day. He has 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 hit by pitches. And the Traynor retreats to the dugout, and it's Miller who is 1 of 2 today. Hit a single in the 7th, stole a bag, struck out looking and walked twice. Has been stranded on second base every time he's reached. Wind still blowing out into left field. It's Chamberlain at second and Ruley at first. Foresters trail by 4 against the Blues. The tying run standing on deck for Santa Barbara. The first pitch, and it's a fastball called strike to Miller, 0-1. Caden making his Santa Barbara Foresters debut. Off the tail of a All-American Conference freshman team season, where he batted .280 with a .287 slugging. 0-1, and he foul tips it off the mid of Andrews behind home plate, 0-2. Miller was originally committed to play at Houston Christian, but at the last second flipped it over to UT San Antonio.
Good decision, considering their Cinderella story run this year.
And made it to a Super Regional and played against UCLA. He stole home in Game 1 of that Super Regional. The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sean York finally gets on the board, and the Foresters 2 outs away from this game being over.
That's a huge out. Now you're ground ball away from winning this game, getting out of here, but you're also a couple base hits away from this game being tied, so you've got to nibble.
Here's Brady Dallimore, the Texas Christian commit, and the National Player of the Month back in April, according to Prep Baseball Report. He's got runners on first and second. York delivers. He yanked fastball low and outside out of the mid of Andrews, 1-0. Sean York has only allowed 1 earned run this whole summer with the Blues. He has allowed 5 runs, though. The 1-0. And it's a fastball in the outer half for strike 1.
Keep pounding that strike zone, Sean. Make them work. They're going to beat you at least. If you're going to lose, at least have them beat you.
And Sean's weaknesses have been magnified here. He has a 1.27 ERA, but a 2.25 whip on the summer. 2 times at second, now shoots. 1-1, it's nubbed off the bat and sent into the Blues dugout for strike 2.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers more in depth, you're striking out over 11 batters per 9 innings, but then he's giving up 7.5 hits per 9 innings. 12.5 hits per 9 innings and 7.5 walks per 9. So less than ideal there.
The 1-2. Slider misses outside in the other batter's box. Even count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think something also important to note is that the walks and hits per inning does not include hit by pitches. It only includes the walks and hits. So I'm not too sure how many batters he's hit, but in this game, his whip is 1. He gave up a walk per inning, but those hit by pitches don't count.
2-2. Off the hands and spun into the grass bleachers at Sinsheimer. We'll do it again at 2-2. Yeah, 2 walks and 2 hit by pitches in Sean York's 2 innings of work, or technically an inning and a third of work. Battling here with Brady Dallimore, who replaced Caleb Hoover in the 6th inning. Dallimore 0 for 2. 2-2. And Dallimore almost hit by a 4-seamer inside. It's a full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And Sean does not want to walk or hit this batter, as it brings the tying run to the dish for the Foresters. Look at second. Here's the payoff. And a yanked fastball outside. That will load the bases for Santa Barbara. Chase Rogers is hot and ready to go in the bullpen. Dean Traynor hasn't made a move yet, but the bases are full of Foresters in the top of the 9th inning, and the tying run comes to the dish. And Dean Traynor will finally make the move to Chase Rogers. Sean York's day is done. He'll tell you more about Chase Rogers right after this. The Blues up by 4, but the tying run up at the plate with the bases loaded in the top of the 9th inning. Stay tuned on the Slow Boost Streaming Network. New pitcher for the Blues. A bases-loaded situation. All the runners would be credited to Sean York. who comes out of this game, a walk, a hit by pitch, and another walk, has loaded the bases for the Foresters. The tying run at the dish takes strike one. That's Coleman Ryan, who's hitless today, but walked in the 6th inning. Coleman with a couple of fly ball outs and a ground ball to the third baseman, Comerford. This is his Foresters debut after a season at Texas Tech, 0-1. And Ryan takes inside 1-1. Tying run at the dish. Go-ahead run on deck. It's Addison Klepsch, who will replace Maddox Mandino. Coleman Ryan drove in 11 this past season with the Red Raiders. 1-1. Ryan pops it up in the air to left field, racing back his heart. He finds the ball, and a runner will score from third, a sacrifice fly. Cole Chamberlain tags up on the sac fly from Coleman Ryan, no relation, and we'll bring it to the top of the order.
That was a pretty well-hit ball. Called it a pop-up, but one had a chance to get over Hart's head.
Two outs, runners on first and second. No one advanced on that sac fly, so Rulli at second and Dallimore at first. First pitch is taken inside, 1-0. Klepsch 0 for 2. Couple of strikeouts after replacing Maddox Mandino in the 6th. Both swinging. Off the hands, and it's popped up right in front of the press box for a strike. 1-1 to the leadoff man, Addison Klepsch. Playing in his second summer in Santa Barbara this year, and finished a season at Auburn this past season as a San Diego native. Slightly open stance as he bends the right knee on the 1-1. And it's taken outside, 2 balls and a strike. Rulli at second and Dallimore at first. Tying run at the dish. Grounder on the left side, over the diving Comerford and into left field. 1 run comes in to score. Throwing on the brakes at second base is Dallimore. RBI single for Addison Klepsch. And all of a sudden, a 2-run ball game in the 9th.
Now you bring the leading run to the dish, and Terrence Kill, and see what the leadoff walk and hit by pitch can do to the Blues. It could hurt them. They're ill-advised, and in this space they came back to haunt the Blues, but Blues need to send the ghosts away and try to get this win.
Dallimore threw on the brakes at second after Hart did a nice job retrieving that baseball. And now it's Terrence Kill, who's hitless today with a couple of hit-by pitches. Kill takes the first pitch slider low and outside, and they'll call it strike 1. Wow. Bill Pintard does not like it one bit. Screaming at the home plate umpire, and honestly, I can't blame him. Every pitch is precious this late in the game, and he gets strike 1 like that on a slider that was in the dirt. It's frustrating. So it's 0-1 to Kill. Off the hands, a slow roll to Comerford. Couple shuffles to first. The throw is high, but Tallerman is 6'5" and makes the catch. Blues are 2-0 against the Santa Barbara Foresters.
Honestly, a game the Blues are going to take as a win, and they're going to put it behind them. You know, they gave up 12 walks. That doesn't include the at least 3 hit batters, and they struck out 13 times. Not a recipe for success usually, but a lot of great hitting, 12 hits, and the most runs they've put up in a week. And they will definitely take it. The bats were there. The strikeout numbers were there. The walk numbers from the mound were there. But they're also able to keep the Foresters off the board, only allowing 5 hits, 4 of which came in the final 3 innings. Overall, a good day. There's just a couple of things you like to clean up, but you'll take the win.
Absolutely. There hasn't been many times in baseball, I feel like, where you walk that many times as a pitching staff and strike out that many times as an offense, and you still come through with a victory, especially against a team like the Santa Barbara Foresters. But hey, a win is a win, just like you said, and the Blues take game 1 of a 5-game homestand as the Boys in Blue tip their caps to the Sinsheimer Loyal here in the Orange Row. So they have the Sturs again tomorrow. Then after that, it's the Orange County Riptide, the Santa Maria Indians, and then the Forsters once again. Though these two are now in separate divisions of the CCL, the league keeps the rivalry alive, and I love it. So San Luis Obispo escapes the Forsters 7-5. Many things that need to tighten up. One of the things that I don't think it was talked about enough is how the offense kind of fell flat in the later part of the game. I think along with consistency for the Blues, I think what they need to work on as well is complacency. Getting an early jump against this good team in Santa Barbara, job's not finished. I mean, they had 7 innings of baseball left, and they kind of just coasted the rest of the way as the Foresters utilized 6 pitchers coming out of the bullpen. You got a lot of different looks, but you got to continue to stay locked in.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You got to stay locked in. They were fortunate today that they got off to such a hot start that it didn't come back to bite them. But in games, where you get off to a good start, maybe you score 3 runs instead of 6, you got to keep scoring because you're going to lose games if you can't. It's a 9-inning game, and you're not going to win it in just the first 2 innings. So Blues today are able to get away with not scoring a lot of runs in the later innings, but might not be the case later in the season.
Foresters get another crack at the Blues tomorrow at 6 p.m. Same time, same place at Sinsheimer Stadium. A midweek homestand here in San Luis Obispo. And we wrap it up here on the Slow Boost Streaming Network. Dog of the day.
Don Jordan.
Don Jordan's the dog of the day, folks. Jordan with his 3rd dog of the day?
Yeah, I think tomorrow we need to take a picture of our dog of the day wall and show it during the pregame show.
Okay.
That's our reminder to both of us and anybody watching who might be tuned in for the pregame show tomorrow.
Yeah, so stay tuned, everyone in the postgame show right now. Watch the pregame show. I mean, we can also show it during the game too, but stay tuned to see all the people who have won Dog of the Day, and check out social media to see that Polaroid of Don Jordan this evening. That'll do it from us here. 7-5, Blues win. They play the Foresters again tomorrow. Same time, same place, same broadcast on the Slow Boost Streaming Network. Nate Mills and Ryan Giacomini signing off. Have a great night, everyone. Go Blues.